Welcome in, and oh my goodness, it is day 2 of our broadcast here live in Sturgis, South Dakota, Pappy Hoel Campground. Full Throttle Saloon. You are looking at a relatively cloudy sky today, as the weather's it's a little bit cool today, but I'll take it compared to yesterday. Yesterday was a warm day, to say the very least. Ended up spending the day after we got off the air. They have a giant pool. You can kind of see it there if you're watching us off to the left-hand, the upper left-hand side where the yellow umbrella is, that awning and such. That is the pool. That is a giant Olympic-sized pool. Spent the day up there yesterday with our friends from Mama Tried right in our own backyard there in Wisconsin. Warren and Scott and Jeremy and the gang, they were all down here throwing their pool party and doing the flat track racing, which really wasn't flat track racing. It was more like dirt bike racing on the back of the property here, and it's fantastic. Just another event and activity that goes on during the Sturgis rally. But, man, a fun time yesterday. They had belly flop contests, which are always entertaining. They had chicken fights in the pool and people that had been imbibing, trying to swim fast laps and such, and they had music cranking, and they had a girl performing Cirque du Soleil on a high wire off the bottom of a motorcycle, and yeah, it was quite the circus spectacle down here yesterday. So we had a lot of fun. Spent some time in the sun and grilled out last night and sat by the campfire and listened to Tesla last evening. So tonight, though, is one of the big ones. It is Disturbed on the main stage down at Full Throttle Saloon, and we get a chance to go down there and see Mike Wangren, the drummer from Disturbed, and see the guys as they sign the guitars for our veterans and for our auction and such for the motorcycle ride coming up. So all of that from out here. Meanwhile, the Brewers, don't look now, they are now starting to distance themselves a little bit from the Chicago Cubs as they continue to roll. They got another win yesterday. The Cubs take a loss, and the Cubs are now 3 games back in the standings, which is nice, real nice. Also last night, again, I hated to do it, but I had to see if there was anything to Shams Charania reporting regarding Giannis, and I was confirmed via my very good source, who basically said, no, he doesn't want to go anywhere. And the Bucks hold all the cards, and they're not trading him. He's not going anywhere. So Giannis is staying in Milwaukee, and that is kind of a big non-story, but I wanted to get that out of the way. And then you've got Nate Hobbs, who has they call it a knee surgery, a minor, cleanup, if you will, whatever it happens to be. But he's down for 2, 3, 4 weeks. We'll have to wait and see how quickly it is that he actually returns. But that was not news that anybody needed in any stretch of the imagination. But, because the secondary, we always, we kind of had a little bit of a concern about the secondary, after Jaire left, and, he's already getting his knee drained in Baltimore. We already know that. So we're kind of like, well, you're glad you got rid of him. And now all of a sudden, Nate Hobbs, he's down with a knee issue, and he is gone now for the next 3 weeks. So, kind of be careful before you point your finger and go, we made the right decision. Oh, well, wait a minute. No, maybe not. Hopefully Nate Hobbs is back sooner rather than later. So that at least can be a good thing. You'd rather do it now than mid-portion of the season as other injuries begin to mount. But that is the view. And welcome into everybody over on the cheap seats, the live stream and such. We are glad you're with us. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. That's the phone number to get a hold of us if you want to text us. You can. 608-321-1670, 608-321-1670. Today on the program, Chuck Freeman makes his weekly appearance off the Locked On Brewers podcast. We'll talk with him about this team that is just as hot can be, and it seems like every day we come to the forefront and say that, and the Brewers continue to be hot. We'll talk with Zack Heilprin, some Badgers and some Packers, as Zack is on his way up to Packers camp. We'll talk with Mike Clemens at some point today as well from Green Bay, live at Packers training camp. More about the Nate Hobbs surgery, and also we're going to hear from Matt LaFleur coming up here in a little bit, as the Packers back on the practice field today after an off day yesterday. You want to find us and watch the program and see the scenes and such as they clean up behind me, you can. That is youtube.com youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. You can find us there. You can also hit us up on all the different Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're on the Twitch app, the Kick app, the LinkedIn app as well. You can take us anywhere and everywhere and listen to us on the Zone Madison, which is the Wisco Sports Zone. The Zone Madison on our flagship station, which is the Zone out in Madison, Wisconsin. And then don't forget we're a television show, and that is My 24 TV in Milwaukee, 8 o'clock Central Time on Saturday nights, My 24 TV in Milwaukee. After the fact on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Google Podcasts. You can email the program, the Bill Michaels @gmail.com. The website simply thebillmichaels.com. So there you go. That's all the different things happening. I don't know what else I can possibly say at this point. Grant, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. I'm excited. We were in our pre-show meeting. As I said yesterday, we have extensive meetings. So Zack coming up. Mike just texted and said in segment number 2, he can join us to recap Matt LaFleur for a couple minutes. So that'll be great and get the latest on Nate Hobbs. I had a great night last night. I listened to the entire Brewer game in my headphones and watched Cubs Reds on my laptop.
Okay.
And that was very exciting. I know it's a little lame to be like rooting with all my might against the Cubs, but I wanted the Brewers to pick up a game, and the Brewer game was over. So yeah. I was going to watch something. Cubs Reds coming down to the wire.
Yep, I don't blame you. And the fact that, I was texting a buddy of mine last night. I said, oh, my God, is Cincinnati actually going to do Milwaukee a favor? And he said, probably not. They'll figure out a way to choke it away. But ultimately, they did win the game. So Cincinnati got a win. The Cubs take a loss. And like I said, the Brewers find themselves 3 games up in the standings. They are now, from where they were in the middle of May, they have gained 9.5 games on the Cubs. They were 6.5 back. They now stand 3 games up, 9.5 games on the Cubs in May, June, July, and then now, about a week into August. But 9.5 games they have gained. And the Cubs aren't playing terrible baseball. Now, granted, over the last couple of weeks, they played maybe 500 baseball, but they're not playing terrible baseball. And the Brewers just keep winning. And keep getting recognition, and people are saying, how are you doing this? And, it's like everybody, it seems like nationally people are just waiting for the wheels to fall off in some way, shape, or form, and they're just not.
When you're right about the Cubs, I dug this up last night. They're 27-25 in their last 2 months.
Yeah.
Which, to your point, is not bad. It's not great. It's not bad. But I'm sure as Cubs fans would tell you, that's not the type of baseball that's supposed to lose you 6.5 or 7 or 8 or 9 games in a division, right? You're supposed to, if you play slightly better than 500 ball, you shouldn't be losing a lead like that. It's more about how good the Brewers have been. The Cubs have been fine, albeit not as elite as they looked early on in the year.
Now, it's not going to happen this season. But what if the Brewers just run away with this division and the Cubs in the offseason make another move or two? They come back and the Brewers do it again next year. Do the Cubs then say, Craig, you're not the guy?
Well, what if the Cubs miss the playoffs this year? What if things really go south? And with this roster, they don't miss it.
That's a whole other discussion, because I still think they're going to win the wild card. But that would be a whole other discussion. I mean, if they falter to this point, now the Cubs are 3.5 games up in the wild card over, say, Cincinnati, the Padres, whatever. And Cincinnati's 3 games back in the wild card. I mean, the next closest team is the Cardinals at 5.5. San Francisco, Miami, believe it or not, both 6 games back. And after that, it's pretty much over for everybody else. But if the Cubs didn't make the postseason, I can't imagine the outcry that Cubs fans would have. I mean, Ricketts would have to listen. Now, they're paying Craig Counsell quite a bit of money, and I don't think they would can him this year. But I think going into next season, that would be an incredibly hot seat for Craig Counsell. I have not listened to Chicago, because I do take pleasure in that every now and then, in listening to Chicago radio, especially as the Brewers just kind of kept pace, because the cockiness of Cubs fans was a lot of like the national people saying, I don't know how the Brewers are doing this, but it's not going to sustain. They're not going to continue this, so don't worry about them. And they just kept winning and winning. And then once the Brewers caught the Cubs, if you started to listen to Chicago radio, the tenor changed. It went from being, don't worry about it, to there's something here that might be for real, and the Cubs better wake up and realize that this team's charging hard. now like I said, I have not had a chance at all since we, got on the road on Friday to listen to any, Chicago radio. But I got to think now, sitting 3 games back, that they're starting to go, wait a minute, not only are the Brewers for real and their pitching is extremely good, but they're not blinking. And the Cubs are blinking. The Cubs are starting to succumb to some of the pressure. And this is some of the knocks that Craig Counsell had against him was down the stretch going into the All-Star break. The team always seemed to stub its toe. And when pressure got hot, specifically towards the end of the season, things got a little tight. I mean, he was still winning divisions. So you can't knock Craig because people said that all the time. And I said, well, he still won the division. So what do you want to criticize him for? But this is one of the things where Cubs fans, at least last week, were kind of criticizing Craig Counsell for. But I wonder how loud the cry would be if he didn't make the play, if that team didn't make the playoffs this year.
Well, and I watched his entire postgame presser last night because I had Marquee up, and again, I have nothing better to do, and it's kind of the classic Craig Counsell routine, which I think is what makes him great, but also what can hurt him.
Yeah,
is he's never too high, he's never too low, and even when the team might need a swift kick in the beans, and we might know this is not okay, this is not status quo, something's wrong, we need to do something. Yeah. I don't know that Counsell's really that guy. And again, the Cubs aren't playing horrible. They're playing a little bit better than 500 ball. The thing is their offense can't get going. They don't have enough pitching, and the Brewers are playing like the 1929 Yankees.
Yeah.
And there's really, if you listen to Counsell talk, it's kind of the same message as it always is, which is good a lot of the times, but sometimes I think it can hurt the way that he manages his team.
Yeah, it was a year in which they were supposed to take that jump, and they did. They have, because they're not 10 games back or what have you. I mean, they've been battling pretty much a majority of the season until the last week when the Brewers finally overtook them and now have begun to extend that lead. So they've been there, but you're right. I mean, they've got some holes that were very obvious going into the trade deadline that everybody was talking about. They needed some additional pitching. They were scoring. The problem is offensively, they scored so many runs in the beginning of the season. Everybody just felt the offense was great. I mean, they were on a pace to break the 1930 Cubs scoring record. And that's kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit. Now, we had mentioned this when the Cubs were in town. The Cubs will go, they'll score 1 run, 2 runs, and then all of a sudden they'll bust out for 11 and win a game. And then they'll score 1 run, 2 runs, lose a couple of games, and then they'll score 9. And that's the way they've done it all season long, kind of on average, so to speak. So they've got offense. It goes into hibernation at some of the worst possible times. And, but that's baseball. I mean, I can't sit here and say that the Brewers haven't done that because the Brewers have. We get frustrated. The Brewers will score 30-something runs against the Nationals, and they could come back over the next 2 days and get beat 2-1 and 3-2. It's what happens. You're as good as the next day's starting pitching. And, sometimes their starting pitching just has it going that day, and you can't figure it out. But the Brewers right now, I mean, knock on wood, man, they're just rolling. It's just everything they do is just working right now.
And to their credit, last night, what do we talk about? Well, this team, they don't have a lot of power, but they string hits together.
Yep.
Last night they won the other way.
Right.
I think they ended with only like 3 hits, but they got the one big swing, the 3-run home run from Isaac Collins, and that was enough. That was the difference. So I don't know, to give credit to the Brewers, because my night ended with the Cubs, but watching the Brewers beat the Braves and Fetty, who's just absolutely terrible but pitched well, like getting a little bit of that home run power. It was fun to see them win in a slightly different way last night.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch, and like we said, the acceleration since the middle of May has been nothing short of amazing. On the other hand, you've got a Packers team that shined a little bit on family night. There's a few eyebrows that are kind of raised. Nobody at this point in time is really crisp and perfect, and there's no team that just looks spectacular in camp at this point. So we tend to, kind of look at them in too much of a negative under the microscope, and sometimes too much of a positive. But the injuries continue to mount, and now the biggest one happens to be Nate Hobbs getting the surgery. So let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a break and come back. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But we're broadcasting live out here, Pappy Hoel Campground, right above Full Throttle Saloon here in Sturgis, South Dakota. A little bit of a crisp day, but the sun is starting to break through, and the clouds are starting to part a little bit. It's supposed to be, I think, 84 degrees, a couple of degrees less than what it was yesterday. Yesterday got up to about 87, 88. So it's supposed to get to 84 today. It's going to be another warm one. Good day to ride a little bit. And then Disturbed coming up tonight just at the venue down below me. But again, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit more about the Green Bay Packers and some of the injuries that they have. Speaking of your motorcycle, Tim's Stereo Systems. And Tim is not here, but the sounds guys are. But the motorcycle audio that I put on my bike, I think over the last 2 days, there have been more than a few Wisconsinites that are staying here, which, by the way, I think there's almost 2,000 campsites here. More than a few Wisconsinites have driven by, and they listen and say, hey, what is that system? Can I take a look at it? Or they say, hey, I got the same system. I got the same one. So, and it's been really cool to crank it up and to be able to hear it clearly as you know, from in the area or as you ride. But Tim Stereo Systems, whether it's the brake assist, it's some of the lighting that he has, but more so than anything, those sounds systems, SOUNDZ, they're absolutely fantastic. Get a hold of my buddy Tim, 608-718-1425, 608-718-1425. We'll be back. More of the Packers chatter right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
We have got to give a big shout out to our friends at Marquardt RV. Marquardt RV has been absolutely fantastic. And also to work with them and the Thor motor coach that we have is just, it's almost an embarrassment of riches. They are so wonderful to us, and they gave us such an incredible place to stay and a beautiful motorhome to travel around the state in and the country in this year. It has been just an unbelievably wonderful partnership, but more so than anything, what I see out of them is not what they do for us, but what they do for you, the service that they have. Anybody can sell you anything. but it's the service after the fact, the service during. That's what they pride themselves on. That's our friends at Marquardt RV. Locations throughout the state of Wisconsin. They have a couple of locations over in Minnesota as well. And whether it's a Glacier, a Heartland, a Forest River, a Jayco, a Thor Motor Coach like we have, Marquardt RV is the place to go. Go to MARKQUART, MarquardtRV.com. That is MarquardtRV.com. Again, MarquardtRV.com, and see for yourself the service that I've been bragging about for so long. Again, that is MarquardtRV.com. All right, let's bring him in. We got our guy Mike Clemens on the line. Michael, how you doing today, man?
I'm okay. I'm at Oneida in Armed Forces, and I'm looking at about 1,000 people waiting for autographs and bike riding and that kind of stuff. And the two coordinators, Stenovich and Halfley, just walked past me. Somehow they got to cross, and the officer's still making me hold. Other than that, things are great.
So let's talk about Nate Hobbs. Obviously, Bill Huber, a fine piece of reporting and breaking that story that the knee issue had to require some type of surgery. Let's talk about that first.
Yeah, so, you're watching Family Night, and frankly, I wasn't even doing kind of a attendance or inventory to see if 21 was out there in Nate Hobbs. I know that he'd missed a practice or so, but, veteran rest, they've got these younger players they want to look at. But when the Packers announced about 5 o'clock that they're bringing back veteran Corey Ballantyne, who, did a really good job like 2 years ago when Jaire Alexander had another one of his injuries, and Corey filling in at corner and playing on special teams. I think that kind of sent like an alarm to Bill, like, well, what's up with that? And He got through to his sources regarding Nate Hobbs, and they said, yeah, Nate had knee surgery. It's minor. It's to clean it up. We just talked to Matt LaFleur about it. I said, is this something that had been lingering, like a chronic thing, or contact in practice? He said, well, no, it was contact in practice last week that triggered it, why, he was down then for the next practice or two, including Saturday night. So whatever, what they're saying is 3 weeks, it's minor surgery, and that they would hope they would have him back for the Lions game. But this stuff, it's always, oh yeah, he'll be back sooner. And then they get back, and it takes a week or two at least to get back up to speed. But this was supposed to be your starting corner, the way things were going right now in camp.
So, Mike, we talked a little bit yesterday about some of the injuries that had concerned you, and one of them being the running back position. Now, does this throw up alarm bells about the secondary?
Yeah, because you want your best guys on the field at 100% when you take out the Detroit Lions,
right?
For week 1 here. So it does that, but it is camp, so that means that Carrington Ballantyne, who's going into his 3rd season, I think already, he'll take those snaps. He'll hold it down. He'll be ready to go if needed as the starter on the corner opposite Keyshawn Nixon. There's the rookie, Micah Robinson, that they picked up in the 7th round. And don't forget, it's Bo Melton, in the back end of that room, who Jeff Halfley said last week, and you got Brian Gutekunst, as you guys were talking about yesterday, saying, hey, even when we first looked at Bo Melton in the shuttles and could see how quickly he could run backwards, that we thought he had, the numbers for a defensive back sometime down the road. And then you talk to Jeff Halfley, who says, hey, this is not an overnight thing, okay? Corner is more complicated than you think. So this will be a project. This will take time. But at the end of the day, Bo Melton is a guy you want to have on your team if you want to win football games.
I said at the beginning of the show, Mike, that Family Night wasn't crisp. It wasn't great. It's a great experience for the fans, but it left something to be desired for the coaches and for those that go to the film study room. So what was today's message after yesterday's off day from Matt LaFleur getting back at it?
He didn't talk much and didn't get many questions in terms of really breaking down what happened on Saturday night's sessions. He talked about some players that flashed, including this Omar Brown kid, safety, who, he says that's legit. Even though, to me, Bill, some of these, one of the 3 picks that he had is just, right place, right time, balls bobbing in the air. He's showing his, if you will, his athleticism. I'm trying to not get run over by the players here. There's Aaron Mosby. Aaron, good to see you. I'm walking past the Hudson Center, and they're going inside there for their warm-ups. Like Omar Brown at safety, he did flash. I mean, and he's like, you know what? When the coach says today that this Omar Brown kid is not only making athletic plays, but he's in the right spot, well, that's a good thing. But, they're so deep at safety right now. He talked about Lucas Van Ness, and he said, don't forget that he is a guy who, when we drafted him, was very young. And he said, the thing about, because Lucas seems to be showing progress and flying off the ball. But he said, Lucas has got to accept that it can't be perfect every time. So to me, that translates to the things that we talked about last season with LVS.
Yeah.
And that's, this is a guy who won't pull the trigger unless he's absolutely sure. He's got to roll the dice and gamble on some of these pass rushes.
So here's my next question. Does he look like he's taken the next step? After you and I sat down there at Combine and Goody kind of surprised everybody saying, oh, no, Lucas Van Ness is ready to break out. Does he look like he's ready to break out?
I'm not ready to commit. I'm not ready. I want to see him hit the quarterback, right? Give me a session where the red jersey's off, and I can't be any more committal than that. That's all. I'm still kind of psyched up about 93 Nazir Stackhouse, an undrafted kid out of Georgia, who you see him plug up the line with a center and a guard, and you can see the defensive line coaches excited by that. Quay Walker, is he ever going to get back on the field? That's one thing we're watching with the defense as well. And we're talking a lot of injuries today. Rasheed Walker, he's been out now for a while with a groin. LaFleur says it's not a long-term thing. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So that sounds like he might be back. You know who had to walk off the field in the tunnel with another couple of periods left Saturday night, family night, is the third-round pick wide receiver Savion Williams.
Yeah.
Being escorted to the locker with assistance. And I'm hearing that's now not concussion related, which took him out for several days. Now he's got some kind of a shoulder injury. So we'll see if 83 is on this practice field today. But we got 3 practices. 2 are supposed to be very physical, 1 a little lighter, and then the New York Jets on Saturday night.
Right, which we're all looking forward to, obviously, and then breaking it down all a week from yesterday. So I'm excited about that. Today at practice, anything in particular you're walking around and focusing on before I let you go?
Yeah, suddenly I'm more interested in the defensive back depth chart, right?
Yeah, right.
and I have to watch 2 or 3 of these, backup running backs. Like, okay, who's going to get the ball against the Jets? And remember 2 or 3 years ago, you had A.J. Dillon, you had Aaron Jones, and then it was wide open. And then here comes this kid from a small college in Georgia named Emmanuel Wilson, who's busting runs, against the Bengals when we were down there in Cincinnati in the preseason. And he's here, and A.J. Dillon's no longer with the program. He's over in the Eagles camp. So, we'll start looking for this stuff this week at some of those positions that are going to get auditioned on Saturday night. Does the first team play at all? Of course, LaFleur's playing his cat and mouse game. I just told the team everyone's got to be ready to play. Yeah, right. Sure.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Mike, real quick, the offensive line, I know that you had mentioned Rasheed Walker being down, the mix and match that have been going on, moving guys in and out of center, Elton Jenkins coming back. Morgan is the guy that they want to get in there and kind of see what he has as a first-round draft choice. How has all that meshing gone on?
The thing that's kind of disappointing is it in terms of they just can't seem to put Jordan Morgan, your first-round pick from last year, just line him up at left tackle as the number 2 left tackle, because then they got to move it into guard and left guard because Aaron Banks missed some time. So, it's that versatility thing, but you'd like to see that guy as at least your 6th man, okay? Just assuming Rasheed is your starter, that's your 6th man, and that he has an identity as probably the backup tackle. And that's what you'd like to see happen over the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Mike, great stuff as always. Anything breaks, get back in touch with us, and we will talk again real soon, if not tomorrow, okay?
Always, Bill. Thank you, pal.
You the man. Stay safe. Crossing the street. Mike's on the air with us, crossing the street up there at Lambeau Field. Always great to get a hold of Mike Clemens. Going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we got more. We're going to talk Badger football, as we're going to talk with Zack Heilprin, sports director, WOZN, The Zone in Madison. We're going to talk with him, and we'll talk with him about both the Badgers and the Packers, because he is on his way up to Packers camp. So this portion of the program brought to you by our friends at San Giorgio and also at Calderone Club. The best Italian food you're going to get. San Giorgio, the pizzeria Napolitana on one side, authentic, out of Italy, certified. Yeah. Then you got Calderone Club right next door, 838 Old World 3rd Street, right across the street from the Hyatt Hotel in downtown Milwaukee. And that is some of the best authentic Italian food you're ever going to stick in your grill. It is just fantastic. Award-winning spaghetti and meatballs and everything else that goes along with it, whether it's a chicken marsala, the spicy penne sashina. They got a veal down there, which is amazing. They've got a steak down there, which is amazing. The thin crust pizza. They've got so much good in the appetizer category. I can go on, man. It's one of my favorite places to go eat all time. That is Calderone Club on one side, San Giorgio on the other, 838 Old World 3rd Street, downtown Milwaukee. More of the Bill Michaels Show. Zack Heilprin joins us next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Becoming a truck driver doesn't have to be complicated. At Schneider, we make it easy to get your commercial driver's license and start your new career. With our CDL apprenticeship training, you'll get paid to become a truck driver in just 5 to 6 weeks and have a Schneider driving job waiting for you when you've completed the program. Plus, during training, Schneider will provide transportation, lodging, and meals at no cost to you. Ready to get your career on the road? Learn more and apply today at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. We are live. We are in Sturgis, South Dakota. And we can't say thanks enough to the great people here at Pappy Hoel Campground. Jesse James Dupree from the band Jackal. Everybody for just allowing us our time, basically, to be here, be a part of, the stage coming up here on Thursday night. We're going to do some stuff backstage with our friends from Disturbed coming up later on this evening, so we're looking forward to that. I got a text message. They have not landed yet, but the guys from Count 77 and the guys from Counting Cars, they are supposed to stop over as soon as they get here. So we're hoping for that as well. So we'll keep you up to date there. Joining us now on the hotline, the sports director, WOZN, the Zone out in Madison, Zack Heilprin. Zack, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Bill. I decided instead of driving southwest down to Platteville today, I drive northeast up to Green Bay.
Yeah, I heard you kind of been doing the double dip. So let's start out with the Badgers, then we'll talk some Packers. But what is your overall impression of Badger camp thus far?
Yeah, it's been good. There's been some good, there's been some bad. I think it's more interesting this year because so much is new. So much new offensively, so many different looks than we haven't seen these last 2 years. And then defensively, they've changed a bunch of stuff up, a bunch of different guys. It's been some good, it's been some bad. I think Luke Fickell would probably say the same, and it's kind of what you would expect.
Let's talk about Billy Edwards Jr. first and foremost. Obviously, all the eyes are going to be upon him. There's another quarterback in town. This is a guy that is supposed to be able to kind of run the offense the way it's supposed to be run. They've changed the offense up. How much grace does that buy them getting out of the chute?
Oh, I don't think it buys them any grace whatsoever, right?
I would agree with that, but I wanted your opinion on that.
Yeah, no, right. Yeah, right. I would just look at it and be like, you changed everything 2 years ago, and it didn't work. You don't necessarily get that grace period to go back and say, well, now we get another year or two to see how this works out. You made a mistake in what you did, and now you got to hit the ground running if you're Luke Fickell and Jeff Grimes. I don't know that they'll get any kind of a grace period with fans. Now, talked to Chris McIntosh out in Las Vegas a couple weeks ago, and he was very supportive of Luke Fickell, as you would imagine, but I don't think fans would get them any kind of grace period.
When you were out in Vegas, a lot of talk about the Ohio State Buckeyes coming off of the national championship run, but they also lost a lot of players. There's not an expectation for them to do it again, although they're always considered one of the top teams in the Big Ten. Got into a discussion a couple of days ago, and I knew you were going to come on and we were going to talk a little bit about this between you and Jesse. Is that if they could pull off, and again, I'm just kind of throwing it out there, if they could pull off an upset and still end up with 7 wins on the season and knock off a team like an Ohio State at Camp Randall coming up in October, that's that signature win that this program would then be looking for that then propels them forward. Even though they would end up with 7 or 8 wins total on the season, you could still, that's something to hang your hat on, right?
Absolutely. Look, I think their over-under is 5.5. So there are not too many. I don't know. Haven't talked to a ton of people that are taking the over on that.
Right.
So yeah, to get to 6 or 7, and one of those wins could be an Ohio State at home where they have played Ohio State tough every single year. I mean, go back. They have not gotten blown out at home by Ohio State in, I want to say it's been 20 plus years. So we're talking about a team that they always play tough at home. And Luke Fickell, you know, because of his Ohio State ties, obviously it's a big game for them too. But if they were to get to 6 or 7 wins, I think it'd be a huge success. Again, we all talk about this schedule and how tough it is, and it is. But it's tough because of the teams that you don't normally associate with being good. An Indiana, an Illinois, you know, maybe Washington you would expect to be better than it was last year. They were in the national championship a couple of years ago. So like that's why the schedule is so tough. It's not, I don't know that it's because you have to face what you do in October with Michigan and Oregon and Ohio State. It's some of the other teams that make it even more difficult, and obviously Alabama too. But if they got to 6 or 7, though, I think that'd be a huge, huge victory for Luke Fickell and his program, and it'd be I think a big like push-off point for next year.
Last year, they played teams tough early on. It was in the latter portion of ball games, midway through the third and into the fourth, that things got away from them. What does this team need to do to say, shore up that quarter and a half that seemed to get away from them last year? Is it just as simple as saying we got to clean up the stupid penalties and the stupid plays for turnovers?
They have to be able to move on. They have to be able to say, yes, this was horrible, but we have a game next week. We can't. If you go back to the Penn State game and the way that all played out, they had a lead in the third quarter and were almost to jump around with a lead, and then obviously Braden Locke saw a guy and still threw the ball and it got picked off in return for a touchdown, and so everything flipped. But they didn't get over that game until I don't even know if they ever got over that game. But it was Thursday before they even focused on anything else. They need to be able to turn the page. So if something doesn't go well against them one week, it can't cost them the next week, and that's exactly what happened at the end of last year. You think about that Penn State game, and then you go and play at Iowa and get stomped. And then you come home and play Oregon. You play them really, really tough. You had them right there, too, for the picking. And then you go and get blown out by Nebraska and Minnesota, for that matter. You have to be able to move on. And that was such a huge message from Luke Fickell down in Vegas and certainly here in camp. Have to be able to move on. It was a focus all offseason for them.
One of the things that I thought also was that the physicality of some of the teams that they faced grinded on them to the point where they became physically underwhelming in midway through the third quarter in a lot of those games that you had just mentioned, where you had physical teams and they couldn't match that physicality, which is something they tried to address very much so in this offseason, correct?
Oh, they did. They absolutely did. The mentality of it, but also changing back to this offensive scheme, they want to run the ball. They want to run the ball down people's throats. And will they be able to do that, I think, is obviously a huge question. We've seen some explosive plays in the run game so far in camp. They're not full tackles, so it's a little bit tough to always gauge that type of stuff. But that's who they want to be offensively. And the defensive side of the ball, they absolutely got worn down and got run over because they weren't very big in the front. And, you know, it's not just straight size. They've got, I think, 9 300-pound defensive linemen or 8 or 9 guys over 300 pounds along their defensive line now. It's not just about size, but it's a big part of it. It's a big part of it. If you're going against some power run teams like Iowa, like Minnesota, teams that want to run the ball down your throat, they didn't need to pass the ball because that's exactly what they could do. So they made a huge effort to address this year, and we'll see if it pays off. I'm again on all this stuff, Bill. I'm just wait and see, right? We've been so I don't know, locked into the hype, especially in 2023. So locked into the hype. A little bit less so last year. Certainly, please show us before we make any proclamations about who you are as a team. But they've made the moves to address it. We'll see if they can, if that ends up doing it.
So the other thing I wanted to ask you, there's so much talk about where an area could possibly be that needed to be shored up. What looks good to you so far in camp? Let's talk about a positive first.
I would probably say that's a tough question because I think there's a number of spots, but I would probably say I really like what the running back group has done. It's Dylan Jones, Darian Dupree, it's K.D. Akamelli, it's Gideon Atuka. What makes Wisconsin special when they have a good offense, and this is not going to be like some kind of a surprise, but it's a good offensive line and having an NFL-type running back. if you have NFL talent at running back, you're likely going to have some success. And they haven't had that the last couple years because Braylon was obviously dinged up in 23, and last year's group was not where it needed to be. What I've seen from this group so far is a lot of talent. They were highly recruited kids, and we've seen them that kind of play out. Darian Dupree's looked amazing. Dylan Jones has looked really good, and Cade Akamili averaged over 8 yards to carry last year. Didn't get the ball very much, but he's also looked good. So I think I would say probably the running back group has been really, really impressive.
Offensive line, it all starts up front. Again, you go to the trenches, you talk about the physicality, bigger, stronger, faster. Offensive line last year, I noticed at times was not able to protect as long as maybe they needed them to. Is this a better offensive line in the trenches this year?
I certainly think they're going to be a better run blocking team. Braden Locke, for all his issues, was able to get the ball away without taking too many sacks. They only gave up, I think, 12 sacks in the season. They weren't horrible. They could not run the ball. And that has to change. And I felt great about it in the spring. They had Kevin Haywood playing at left tackle, and then he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
And so they had to go out and get Davis Heinton from Central Michigan to come in and play left tackle. And that's a job that's still up for grabs. And they're also still looking at the right guard spot where Emerson Mandel and a couple other guys are fighting for that. But they are bigger. They are certainly bigger. And they are certainly nastier in what they want to do. But do I think this offensive line is going to be better than last year's? It has to be. It absolutely has to be.
Defensively speaking, real quick, anything overwhelmingly impressive there so far?
They have some crazy depth at inside linebacker. They've got a couple of guys in Christian Allegro and Tackett Curtis who have looked really, really good. But then they got a couple of young guys, Cooper Catalano, who's from Aquanago, and looks like he's a true freshman. He came in early, but he looks like he's going to be able to play right away. And then they've got this other guy named Mason Posa. He's from New Mexico. Was a big-time wrestler, but is also a big-time football player. Every program in the country wanted him. They beat out Oregon. They beat out Oklahoma. Like, it was a huge, huge win for them. And he's another guy that I think it might not be a huge impact this year, but down the road, him and Cooper Catalano, I think, is the future of that position. And I'm really, really excited about what those guys have looked like and what they can do, especially if you get to play the defensive line that you need to, where they're kind of able to run free and they're not getting, gobbled up by blocks and guards getting off to them.
So being in Green Bay, and I hear the horn back there, which means there's some segments in practice that are changing over. I know Mike Clemens, we talked to a little bit earlier. Anything in particular you're looking at as the Packers take the practice field today?
Well, this is my first time up here of training camp, so I'm anxious to see some of the newer guys and seeing some of the stories that have played out. Obviously, the Nate Hobbs injury is significant. Mike obviously texted us late last night about that.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, the corners of one position that can't really afford too many injuries because there's just not a whole lot of bone behind them. So I'm anxious to see kind of how that's all going to look with some of these younger guys having to slot in his place, and certainly Jordan Love, who maybe wasn't necessarily great, I would say, on Saturday night, and some of the stuff that has come out of family night, but. Yeah, I'm just glad to be up here, Bill. It's been a while.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm going to get up there, too, when I get back. But I think two things, or maybe three things that intrigue me the most. Obviously, you mentioned Jordan Love. But the two things I think that are at top of mind is, one, the pass rush. Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness. Van Ness, there was a lot of confidence from Brian Gutekunst put in his corner when we were asking him specifically about finding additional pass rushers on the open market. He said, no, we're going to stick with Lucas Van Ness. He's ready to have that breakout season. And then the pass rush is going to equate to better secondary play. You're already a little bit thin with Nate Hobbs going down, but how is that secondary going to handle it if that pass rush is not there? The way I think that there's a lot of skepticism in that area because of what we've witnessed in the past, and you got to tell us or at least show us there's going to be a breakout season there. So I'm looking at that secondary as well. The other guy that has been relatively quiet, Edgerrin Cooper, another guy I want to see take that another advanced step and see what he can do this upcoming season to make that defense better.
Absolutely. Been a lot of talk of Isaiah Simmons and some of his athletic ability and how quick and fast and all that good stuff. But that was Edgerrin Cooper last year, and I'm sure Quay Walker's back today on a limited basis for the first time, which is good. Quarterback of the defense and all that good stuff. The pass rush aspect of it, yes. And I will say, Nate Hobbs being the nickel, you do have some options there. with Javon Bullard and Evan Williams and be able to move some guys around if you wanted to do that. So at least it's not one of the outside guys, but they need Nate Hobbs to be here. And when you sign a guy who has struggled with injuries the last few years, you're risking some stuff. And fortunately, this one doesn't appear like it's going to be too serious, but it's not an ideal start for him.
Always great to talk to you, Zach. We appreciate it. Enjoy camp, and then we'll talk again real soon, okay?
All right, sounds good, Bill. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Talk to you later. There goes Zack Heilprin, sports director, WOZN, The Zone, Madison, our flagship station out of Madison, Wisconsin. Been covering the Badgers down in Platteville in their camp, now up in Green Bay, and covering the Packers in their camp as well. Going to go ahead and take a break. We are just kind of rolling through this first hour. When we come back after the top of the hour, stay tuned, because we're going to be hearing from Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur spoke just a little while ago. We're going to have that for you in its entirety, as the Packers had an off day yesterday. The Nate Hobbs stuff broke. Now you're back on the practice field today, so we got a lot of stuff to get to. This portion of the program brought to you by, we got so many great sponsors that brought us here, but this one's brought to you by our friends over there at Veterans America. Veterans America. As a matter of fact, at some point today, James Mercado is supposed to stop by. He's got some stuff that he's doing out here with veterans for the 85th Sturgis motorcycle rally. So maybe he'll swing by and say hi. But a big supporter of veterans in so many different facets, and helping you, military families, military members, the top VA lender for home buyers in the state of Wisconsin. 262-255-2000. It's 262-255-2000. Again, get a hold of James over there, 262-255-2000. They can help you with everything from your down payments to no PMI, some better credit requirements, whatever it happens to be, governmental guarantees. They have a branch called Veterans America out of Provisor, specifically dedicated to making sure that you, those that are in the military, and those veterans and their families own the land you defend. Again, call them 262-255-2000. It's 262-255-2000. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you on board. We're just about a minute away from going to the top of the hour, but after the top of the hour, Matt LaFleur, head coach of your Green Bay Packers,
Homemade wine.
is going to speak, and we're going to take a listen to it. See what the head coach has to say as the Packers back in the practice field after having the off day yesterday, and after kind of observing, we'll say, the film from the family night scrimmage that they had, or the family night practice, if you want to call it that. It's kind of a glorified scrimmage, but nevertheless, he'll speak. We'll take a listen to what he has to say. You've got some news and notes today, as we were talking with Mike Clemens and Zack Heilprin a little bit earlier. Back in the practice field today, left guard Aaron Banks is back. Also, Tucker Kraft, good to go. Quay Walker's back. Jordan Morgan at left tackle today, and Rasheed Walker, he is still out with the groin issue. And they're kind of mixing and matching, as we had talked about a little bit earlier, that offensive line and piecing that thing together with a few, we'll just call them nagging nicks and bumps and bruises and stuff early on. And you don't want to push anybody too hard when they're nursing a few things and, kind of straining things even further. So Packers mixing and matching a little bit today. So coming up after the top of the hour, we're going to hear from the head coach, Matt LaFleur. We got more to talk about regarding the Milwaukee Brewers as well. We're going to talk with Chuck Freeman today of the Locked On Brewers podcast. That's upcoming, and who knows who may stop by or may not stop by today. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully we get a chance to chat with Danny Coker from the show Counting Cars, and his band Count 77 plays down at Full Throttle behind me, coming up a little bit later on this afternoon as well. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more. 1 hour down, 3 hours yet to go. Broadcasting live here at Pappy Hoel Campground and Full Throttle Saloon in Sturgis, South Dakota. Got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, that's 4 in a row for the Milwaukee Brewers as they would beat the Atlanta Braves 3-1 last night. Starting pitcher Quinn Priester went 7 innings, giving up 2 hits and 1 earned run while striking out 4. And after getting the nod for NL Rookie of the Month, Isaac Collins hit a 3-run shot in the 4th. The Brewers now sit 68-44 on the year, 3 games above the Cubs for first place in the NL Central. Freddie Peralta is now slated to start for the Crew tonight, with first pitch coming at 6:15. Turning to the Packers, their cornerback Nate Hobbs had a minor knee surgery over the weekend. He'll be out at least 3 weeks. Head coach Matt LaFleur was talking about what they liked about Hobbs so far in camp.
The thing that you admire most about him is he's passionate about the game and he loves to compete. And that's one of the reasons why we went out and got him, is because he shows it, and he's that consistently on a daily basis.
Yesterday, also saw the Packers bring back cornerback Corey Ballantyne, who was released by the Indianapolis Colts. Before signing with the Colts in March, Ballantyne had been with the Packers since 2022. Green Bay, who had off from practice yesterday, will get back into training camp today.
For nearly 40 years, ABC Wisconsin Apprenticeship has been helping men and women transform themselves into highly skilled trade professionals. These skills are in demand and provide strong wages and benefits for a bright future. If you're a hands-on person who likes the feeling when you get projects done, apprenticeship could be for you. Go to buildyourcareerwi.org or just search online for ABC of Wisconsin.
Wisconsin football continues on with their training camp at UW Platteville. We're just a little over 3 weeks away from them hosting Miami of Ohio August 28th. And finally, yesterday saw ESPN report that Giannis IS is still continuing to evaluate his future with the Bucks. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Welcome in, hour number 2 of the Bill Michaels Show. We are glad you are with us. We are live. We are here at the Pappy Hoel Campground, Full Throttle Saloon in Sturgis, South Dakota. And it has been so great, for lack of a better term, that Jesse James Dupree and the guys from Jackal and the guys from Disturbed and Danny Coker and Kevin and everybody from the show Counting Cars and the band Count 77, they are kind of giving us some of their time to autograph some of the guitars that we're going to have for Big Unit Foundation and our motorcycle ride coming up on Sunday, August 31st. We are out here basically promoting that. And we're going to get some stage time later today and then obviously on Thursday. And we're so grateful for that opportunity and that exposure. And welcome to everybody in on the network now all throughout the great state of Wisconsin back home. And can't wait to get back home. But we've got some missions out here that we want to accomplish before we do head back. That being said, back at home, the Green Bay Packers back on the practice field today after having the day off yesterday after studying some film on Saturday or on Sunday after Saturday night's family night scrimmage. Brewers get a win. Brewers now 3 games up on the Chicago Cubs, and that is just unbelievably sweet sounding. And I guess it's almost to the point that I'm greedy. I want to see them win again today and get to 4 games and 5 games. And it's not going to happen overnight because it took them almost 2.5 months just to get the 9 games back. After being 6.5 games behind the Cubs going into this incredible run that we're all kind of, just hanging out and watching at this point and almost in awe of with what the Brewers have been able to do. But that has been fantastic. We got an update from Zack Heilprin a little bit earlier regarding the Badgers. Also, we're going to have Chuck Freeman from the Locked On Brewers podcast joining us here in just a little bit as well. But before we do anything else, the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, Matt LaFleur, he ended up speaking to the media a little bit earlier today. And I wanted you to take a listen to what he had to say. Here you go.
Give you any determination on Jordan and some of the starters for Saturday?
Yes.
And that is?
Well, they're football players, so everybody's got to go into it expecting to play.
The reports that Hobbs have had some surgery, is that correct? And what's the timetable for him in terms of when they
Yeah, I'm going to put a timetable on it, but unfortunately he had to have something cleaned up, and we're hoping to get him back here sooner than later.
How happy were you to get Valentine back, considering he's started for you at times and can have?
Yeah, a guy that's got experience and knows our system, not only on defense but on defense, and so really excited to see him.
So is this something that has been bothering Nate for a while, or something happened in practice that aggravated it?
From what I know, I think it happened on just a play where there was a collision.
With Warren Brinson, with the opportunities that he's gotten in training camp, how have you seen him progress over these 2 days?
They're doing a nice job, but like all young players, you got to continue to build on what you've done and continue to push. And I'm excited to see him in some live action.
Man, what's the prognosis for Rasheed Walker?
I wouldn't anticipate anything too long term, so he's working back through it.
On Saturday night, you guys ran an RPO where Jordan goes backside to Dobbs on a slant. I think it was on a counter action. Obviously, it feels like they have that whenever they want it, the two of them, right? How important is it, or how difficult is it to get the young guys like Golden or somebody like Savion to get to that point where they read it and they know it exactly like Dobbs?
Well, it's just the technique that you have to be able to run the slant. And when it gets harder, the closer the corners get to the line of scrimmage in terms of, how you defeat the jam. So Rome's done a great job with that. But really any of those guys, we got confidence in it. It's just a lot of times what you're looking for is how how fast is that second level flowing, and how aggressive are they up front in terms of the defensive ends? Because the last thing you want to do is put your quarterback in a situation where he's got an unblocked defender barreling down right at him and he pulls it. And now Jordan's shown that he can do that because he's done it in the past, even versus like pressure looks where I wouldn't necessarily advise to make that throw, but he's been able to do it.
Is Quay getting close to doing 11 on 11?
He should be limited today. No.
What do you mean? What's going to mean to get him back out there to start building on his experience last year at that position?
Yeah, well, he is the quarterback of the defense. So anytime you're missing that piece, that's a big piece. Not that we don't feel like we have other guys capable of doing that. So we certainly feel good about that. And I think those guys have done a nice job, but we know what type of player Quay is and the level that he can play at. And I thought there was a stretch last season where he was playing some really good football. He was getting more comfortable within our scheme, what we were asking him to do. And he was playing at a high level. So it's been a while since he's played football, so he needs to get back ingrained into that. And obviously, the more reps he gets, the more comfortable I think he'll feel and the better he'll play.
Matt, when you had your preseason opener last year, Jordan just had those couple of throws. He throws the 65-yard touchdown to Wicks, and then he's out. He's done. Would you kind of think for Saturday it's a similar type setup that maybe it's short and quick?
We'll see. However I'm feeling in the moment. I just told all these guys just get ready to play football. And then whenever we're ready to pull you, we'll pull you.
Omar Brown's got the the 5 picks. Obviously, that really jumps out. How's he been down in, down out, being in the right place and all that stuff?
I think he's done a great job. I really do. He's been really consistent, and he continues to maximize his opportunities. And when you do that, you get noticed, and then ultimately you get more ops. So he's another guy that, amongst many guys, that we're looking forward to see how he competes when we get into some of these games.
With Emmanuel and Marshawn hobbled, obviously Chris has done a lot of things versatility-wise, but if you had to lean on him as a kind of that number 2 back for a spell, what do you think you get out of him just, as a pure runner goes?
Yeah, I think he's really good. I think there's nothing he can't do. I mean, in terms of, obviously he's a runner, but certainly in the passing game as well. He's a hell of a protector. He's got good hands out of the backfield. We've put him many times. You see him running those choice routes out of the backfield. So I think there's nothing he can't do.
Now, what has Lucas Van Ness done in his third season to improve kind of his pass rush plan and be able to get to the quarterback a little bit better?
I think it all starts with the mentality of those guys, and just, you can't, I think Luke always wants to be perfect, and this is an imperfect game, and sometimes you just got to go. And I think he's starting to learn that. Obviously, he was a young player when we drafted him, and he's getting more reps, and I think he's doing a really good job with that. So he's another guy that just looking forward to see how he progresses as the season goes along.
That's good.
All right. I'll see y'all.
There you go. That's Matt LaFleur talking to the media. Not Matt LaFleur. Grant, is Matt LaFleur like in almost mid-season form at this point? In his I'm not telling you anything.
I mean, this is year one. Matt LaFleur came out of the gate. Like, I think he thought that's like, well, I'm a head coach now. I can't just give away answers at the podium. Like, some things you can just tell us. You know what I mean? Like, are you planning to play some starters on Saturday? Like, who are they playing? The Jets?
Yeah.
What do you think they're watching tape and preparing for? Would you chill? Right. It sounds like he wants those guys to play, though, that some of the starters are going to get legit preseason action.
Yeah, it's Angela says, Matt sounds crabby. He sounds like he's a little annoyed, like mid-season form, like he's worried about the next upcoming game. I mean, maybe it's just the news of Nate Hobbs and some other things going on behind the scenes, but it's not. I guess the messaging is I'm not satisfied. That might be the best way to put it. And again, I'm sure that everything he's saying in public has probably been more, exacerbated behind closed doors, but just doesn't sound like he's he's happy about things that are progressing right now with his team. But good to get Quay Walker back. Obviously, Jordan Morgan playing left tackle today. Rasheed Walker still out with a groin issue. So not a lot of information there. But, yeah, Matt LaFleur just doesn't sound joyous at this point. Doesn't sound like things are really trending in the right direction for the Green Bay Packers in camp before they even get into their first preseason game, and which we're all excited for because that means two things. One, football is back and there's more analyzation to go, but this is going to be the first look at a team in which there's a lot of expectation this year. I don't know. The question about the starters, where he says everybody's going to be ready to play, as Mike alluded to a little bit earlier, yeah, there's more than a handful of guys that are not going to be playing in this, and we know this. And you go back and forth because there are coaches who believe that you get out, you hit, you get your body ready. This is what you do. It's football. And they run the risk of injury because you got to, the only way to be ready for the game is to play the game. Where others take the philosophy of, my guys will be ready come the opener. I'm not going to get anybody hurt in a meaningless game, which it's only meaningless to those that aren't playing in it and don't have a shot at making the game or making the team, because then they don't really have that legitimacy there. But I think it's meaningful in a lot of different facets. So we'll see what he does coming up against the Jets this weekend. But yeah, Matt already sounds like he's in midseason. I'm not telling you a damn thing for him.
Well, and I think some of his players, I brought this up on my show, I don't know, late last week, like, it's impossible to know. I'm not in the club. I'm not in the locker room. But some of the players, it seems as though they're communicating like, yeah, Matt can calm down a little bit. You know, Coach can take a deep breath. Like when Tucker Kraft talked about, well, you know, Matt LaFleur says you need to hold on to the ball. And Tucker Kraft's like, well, I can't stiff arm anybody. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, it almost sounds like the players are like, yeah, we're locked in and you know, we're here to work, but like Matt can take a deep breath a little bit. That's sometimes the vibe that I get.
Cassidy sending us a note saying, is Matt LaFleur worried about his job because he's not gotten that contract extension? Yeah. I mean, is he walking out of the field every day going, oh my God, my contract's riding on this? No. But I think it's in the back of his mind that the new president said, yeah, nobody's getting an extension right now. I want to see things for myself. And we'll see where the results are by the time it all begins to shake out. So in the National Football League or any coach or manager, you're always playing for your job. Whether you just were. Now, if you were just hired this year, then chances are you're not going to get fired by the end of the season. But never say never. Ray Rhodes did. And took a team to an 8-8 season in which people thought that was a little bit of progress when Ron Wolf behind the scenes looked at it and went, no, this is not progress and this is not what I hired. And he can at the end of the very first season. So you're always playing for your job. But there's things there that I think Matt LaFleur, with expectations being what they are looking at going, we haven't seen that yet. Some things we have seen. We saw Matthew Golden, and we've seen his escapability and his ability when he gets the football. We are worried, obviously, about Rasheed Walker and the offensive line a little bit and the mix and match and such there. Lucas Van Ness, they didn't go out and get a big-time pass rusher. Some of the guys who are possibly on the open market, they said, no, we got confidence in Lucas Van Ness. And by all accounts, Lucas Van Ness hasn't necessarily sparked a lot of confidence, we'll say, so far early in this camp. You're looking for Rashawn Gary to have that next level of ability coming out of this year's and coming off of last year's season. You're looking for more beef up front, pressure on the quarterback. Obviously, Quay Walker to be back in the practice field is kind of that captain, so to speak. You're also looking for Edgerrin Cooper to have that second-year guy breakout year. But I think more than anything, he's looking for that big, giant, massive step forward out of Jordan Love, which so many quarterbacks going into year 3 full-time under center begin to take. So, but yeah, to say that he's coaching for his job, absolutely. He's been around quite a while. So once you get past that honeymoon phase and you get into your second contract, every year is a year in which you're coaching for your job. So I'm sure the fact that he did not get a contract negotiation this offseason, I'm sure that probably lingers in the back of your mind with him, Brian Gutekunst, Russ Ball, all of those guys.
Well, and I think he recognizes the state of things and the reality of his job, right? He had a couple cracks with Aaron Rodgers. They couldn't get it done. Right. He's had 2 really good cracks now through 2 years with Jordan Love. And he is aware, I think, as we are. Typically, if a coach, we talked about this, if a coach doesn't win a Super Bowl with his team within the first 6-7 years, usually it doesn't happen there.
Right.
Usually it's got to happen somewhere else. And especially now with the new man in charge. And I think Matt LaFleur has put everything under the microscope. Mike Clemens told us he's going back to last year and watching film of training camp to try to figure out how they can be better. And also, I think it matters this year because week 1 is you welcome Detroit and you welcome Washington within a span of 4 days. So he's got that coming up to worry about too.
Here's the question. Is Matt LaFleur on a hot seat? I don't think, and we've talked about this time and again, but I don't think he's on a hot seat. But I think there is a very intense microscope on Matt LaFleur. Now, again, it's how you get from point A to point B. So I can't sit here and say, well, if he only wins one playoff game, he's going to be fired because, say, he loses his quarterback, his 2 wide receivers, he loses Josh Jacobs, he loses, guys out of the secondary, and he's putting it together with bubble gum and baling wire, then I think it's a hell of a job. So to say this is what the result is, but let's just say they're a relatively healthy team and they're a one and done in the postseason. He might find himself out of work. And I know some jump at that. Others think that Matt LaFleur and the slow and steady, wins the race. But I think there's a microscope on Matt LaFleur this upcoming season for the fluidity of the offense, play calling, reasoning, the undisciplined penalties that we saw last year, false starts, some of the activity after the play and after the whistle had blown. Things like that. I think there's a lot, which is why you've seen more discipline so far early on, specifically to Rasheed Walker in this camp. I think there's a lot of things that really nagged at this team last year that kind of impeded them a little bit, that there's a focus on this year to kind of get those things back, because the perception was it was an undisciplined, undisciplinarian team. So I think there's a different microscope on Matt LaFleur this year, by all means. Let's do this. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show to get to. Don't forget, all of our guests appear on the Schneider Orange Hotline, brought to you by Schneider. Go to SchneiderJobs.com. All you got to do is then type in your zip code, and they can hook you up with a job near you. And let's just say you don't already drive. Well, that's okay, because they can help you out with getting your CDL. So don't forget about that. They can help you out. If you're looking to get into a new career or maybe upgrade your career, by all means, go to SchneiderJobs.com. That is SchneiderJobs.com. Again, SchneiderJobs.com, or just call them 800-44-PRIDE. By the way, I did want to make a mention of this as well. Coming up tonight, you can't forget about our friends over there at the Wisconsin State Fair. You've got Kids Bop Live tonight over on the big main stage, the Bank 5-9 Amphitheater. Herman's Hermits, starting Peter Noon, coming up later on tonight as well. The Bud Pavilion has the B-sides. You've got some other, obviously great music. Tango and Fuego at Flying Solo Bar and Grill, Rust Bucket at Knuckleheads. You got Reverend Raven over at Major Goolsby's. A lot of good stuff. 90s Fake Band over at Robert's Restaurant. So there's a lot of good stuff still going on. And it's Milwaukee Bucks Kids Day today out at the Wisconsin State Fair. Milwaukee Bucks Kids Day today. Tomorrow is John Pardee with Easton Corbin. That's on the main stage. You got some country tomorrow night. 2 Hype Crew over in the Bank 5-9 Amphitheater. So a lot of good stuff going on out at the Wisconsin State Fair. Do not forget about our great friends over there at the Wisconsin State Fair. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network. Step right up and gaze into my crystal ball. I see flashing lights, spinning reels, and a big win. This August, you have a ticket to a cash carnival at Potawatomi. Play with your rewards card and earn entries to win your share of $300,000 in cash and prizes. Prize drawings every Thursday through August 28th. Your fortune awaits only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Chance you are planning a vacation of any type, whether it is to Punta Cana, like I took a trip to earlier this year, maybe a sports trip to see the Packers, the Brewers, some of the Brewers in the World Series, but any kind of trip, a cruise, a resort, internationally, let our friends over there, Michael and Melissa at Dream Vacations, help you out. And all you got to do is call them anywhere in the state of Wisconsin, 414-208-4221, 414-208-4221. That is our friends at Dream Vacations. Dream Vacations in Wisconsin. Again, 414-208-4221. Let them help you out with your resort, your cruise, your sport travel vacation needs, and they can plan and book your next amazing getaway. Again, 414-208-4221. 414-208-4221. So I want to get to this real quick. I got a couple of people over on the text line. This one, Bill in Wanakee said, LaFleur has his grind on. He kind of had his CC, Craig Counsell, a couple of weeks, and Matt LaFleur is going to add the I've got to look at the tape. Which, yeah, it is cliche. But it's something that every coach says. You know, I mean, I don't fault them for it. But you get a guy like Shanahan out in San Francisco who basically holds up the x-rays and says, here's what's happened to this guy. I don't know what the difference is and what the look is for a guy that's banged up, nicked up, whatever. I mean, there is a HIPAA thing to this, but some coaches will basically tell you a lot of information. Others won't say a word. I don't know how much it does or doesn't benefit. I guess maybe whatever the pedigree, the coaching pedigree is coming out of stuff like that, because some coaches are taught don't give up anything. Bill Belichick didn't give anything to anybody, and he had a lot of success. Other coaches give out everything, and they've had success. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess it just depends on what your belief is. But, yeah, it's we're already to subterfuge when it comes to who will and will not play in the first preseason game. So you're right.
The piece of Matt LaFleur evidence to illustrate this that I always bring up is, and you'll probably remember this, the first year he was in Green Bay, they had just drafted Kamal Martin. Remember this?
Right.
And he was missing training camp practices because of a knee problem. And the Packers beat to lead a press conference very, I don't know, like a housekeeping question. Is it the same knee that he hurt in college when he was at Minnesota?
Right.
And LaFleur was like, you guys ask the tough questions, don't you? And I'm like, Matt, that's such a, who cares, man? Like, that's such a, it's been confrontational, and it seems like he feels the need to play this game, and it's been that way since the beginning.
I don't necessarily, I mean, I get keeping certain things close to the vest, but I don't know why stuff like that is so vital to bury behind the walls of 1265. I don't know. There's always a reason for it. Whether or not I disagree with it, I'd have to actually hear the reasoning. But yeah, at some point, you'd love for Matt to sit down and go, this is the reason why. Because this team I worked for, this guy used to do this and circle this, and there's got to be a reason for all that stuff. Greg says 100% Matt LaFleur's on the hot seat. If you fall flat again, he's got to be gone. Bill in Wanakee says 1-5 in the division while being relatively healthy, and Matt LaFleur's seat is more than warm. Ryan of Manitowoc, I think it could get hot during the season. To me, this is a team that has more questions than answers, like a wait and see without saying we can lean on the offense or lean on the defense. Defense, I think, is good, but that constant pass rush, whether somebody breaks out or just as a group like the Eagles have, I don't think there is. Could be wrong, and I don't know if you can gauge anything until the season starts. Am I wrong in that assessment, Bill? What do you think? No, you're absolutely right. There's coming into this season, I think the things that we believe are true. We believe Matthew Golden is good. We believe Jaden Reed, although Jaden Reed with a toe issue, I want to know, and I haven't asked Mike Clemens about this. Mike brought it up, and I kind of glossed over it. I never followed up with a question because we went on to something different, and I had it written down in my notes. How serious is the toe? Is it a turf toe, or did he get it stepped on? Because if it's a turf toe thing, that's something that an offseason will cure. If you got it stepped on, well, that'll get better over the next couple of weeks. So you worry about a toe issue on a receiver because they need the feet to cut and move. And if that's a bad issue, that can be problematic. So that's the one thing. But certain things. Reed is good. Dobbs is good. Matthew Golden's supposedly good. You look at things like, the quarterback, you're expecting him to take that leap. The offensive line, they bolstered, they put bigger, beefier guys up front. And so, Tucker Kraft is good. You're waiting for that breakout of Luke Musgrave. You know what you've got in Josh Jacobs. There's a lot of positives there. I think where you look at what you had mentioned there, Ryan, about the defense and the defensive side of the football, there are question marks. Will Quay Walker go back to what he was prior to the injury? Will you have that breakout season that was kind of promoted by Brian Gutekunst in the offseason for Lucas Van Ness? Does Rashawn Gary come back now a year and a half removed from the knee issue, and he gets comfortable and begins to ascend yet again when it comes to the pass rush? Does the beef up front that they've added, they lose TJ Slayton, but they add a couple of pieces up front bigger than 300 pounds? Do they have enough guys up front now in the trenches to move bodies or require double teams that is going to then take the pressure off of Lucas Van Ness and Rashawn Gary and Searle and those guys? And and then obviously the secondary now, Nate Hobbs. So you have question marks. You have some things that you do know, but I agree with that statement at 100%, that there's enough there to fold your arms and say, okay, let me wait and see, and how you get from point A to point B. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. Why? Because our guy Chuck Freeman is going to be joining us when we come back. Got to talk some Brewers baseball. Brewers 3 games up in the division right now on the Chicago Cubs. Brewers having a lot of success and playing extremely good baseball. Let's do this. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. We are broadcasting live here in Sturgis, South Dakota. We're at Pappy Hoel Campground. And you can see out front, full throttle off into the distance, the fun and frivolity that is. They have the big giant Ferris wheel. No, I shouldn't say giant. It's not as big as the one at Wisconsin State Fair, but They got a big Ferris wheel here, and it gets used at night. It's kind of cool. When it's all lit up at night and you got all the lights and everything and the motorcycles being parked in and out and such. It is a kind of a cool atmosphere here. But we are here at Sturgis, South Dakota, Pappy Hoel Campground, Full Throttle Saloon. And we can't say thanks enough to all the staff and management here, specifically our guy Sterling, who always helps us out and hooks us up with the internet and comes up every day to make sure we're good to go. Thanks to him as well. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We got a lot more to get to. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there at Skipper Buds. Skipper Buds right there in Pewaukee, and there is still time to get out on the water. There is still time to get the boat that you want, or still time to trade in the one that you have and upgrade. There is still time for all of that. Don't let summer end without you making that move and without you getting out and enjoying it via Skipper Buds right there in Pewaukee. Todd is the general manager over there. Go in and say hi to Todd. Say, hey, Bill Michaels sent us over, said you got some pontoons that are still here. You got ski boats that are still here. You got used boats. You got new boats. You got cruisers. You got all kinds of good stuff right there at Skipper Buds, or for parts, accessories as well. Call them 262-544-1200. Ask for Todd, 262-544-1200. That's Skipper Buds in Pewaukee. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Well, it's 3-2 on Collins. See if they send Yelich. He goes, and a swing and a drive to right field. This is hit a ton. It is gone for Collins. A 3-run shot, and the Brewers have the lead. 7th home run of the year for Isaac Collins. Sweeper right down the middle.
How about this kid, Isaac Collins? That got out of here in a hurry.
That did. Isaac Collins, he gets named that Rookie of the Month and then continues to be on the torrid pace. As I'll tell you this, the Brewers are just a flat-out fun team to watch, for lack of a better term. They're just fun. And the fact that they're 3 games up on the Chicago Cubs and continuing to win at this rapid pace is nothing short of, well, I don't want to say amazing, but it is from where they were back in the middle of May to where they are now. It's somewhat surprising because we kind of looked at them as almost foundering at that point. Joining us now on the hotline, our guy Chuck Freeman from the Locked On Brewers podcast, making his weekly visit. Chucker, how you doing, pal?
Oh, Bill, the Brewers, you're right. 3-game lead. The Brewers just continue to win, and the Cubs, just the sleepy Chicago Cubs under Craig Counsell, just find ways to lose.
So let me ask you this, Chuck. If the Cubs do not make the postseason this year, give me your thoughts. Yep. Does Craig Counsell – I think this year he's safe regardless, but does he immediately go to the hot seat going into next season?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. They had a 6.5 game lead on the Brewers, and you got this team to the north of Chicago, and when you go on Cubs Twitter, some of them are even sarcastically saying, it's over. The Brewers have won this division. I feel that's out of frustration, but, Cub fans are upset. All that matters is the front office, how do they feel about it? But, the Cubs go out and make deadline moves and do this and do that. And here they are. The Brewers are still in first place and haven't lost since the trading deadline. So it's just amazing. The Brewers just seem to be a more well-run organization. And it turned out when Counsell left for Chicago, as we're learning, the Brewers now have the better manager with Pat Murphy.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Do you look at it as Craig Counsell was and is a really good manager, but maybe the brains behind it was Pat Murphy?
Well, I just feel like Counsell's teams, and I just noticed it really dawned on me last year, just watching them, those Cubs, when he managed those Cubs games last year, it's like, man, it was a similar pattern to where his teams are here. They just come out some nights and they're just flat, boring, and lifeless, and take on the manager's personality. And I'm like, God, I've seen that here. And the same thing with this year's Cubs teams. And you look at the Milwaukee Brewers under Murphy. Murphy goes into some of these games, and he's playing Ziegler over to third base. Guy's hitting 181. Prior to last night, he's lost 3. He lost a player each day. Mizorowski, Frelick, and Churio.
Yeah.
He still says, I'll just throw this guy in the lineup and watch. We'll go ahead. Isaac Collins, a Rule 5 pick. And the Brewers are getting on. This guy's a Rookie of the Year candidate, I believe. Murphy's finding a way. This guy's the best manager in baseball. You can have your Terry Franconas and your Dave Roberts. Pat Murphy is the perfect fit for the Milwaukee Brewers.
We all know that, you have this 3-game series with Atlanta. Then they get the off day this weekend. You've got the Mets coming to town, the Mets, and then the Pittsburgh Pirates, the lowly Pittsburgh Pirates. But I think how difficult is it to not start to eyeball that 5-game series that's going to come up in the mid-August on the 18th when they go down to Chicago and they have that doubleheader and a 4-game series that was already scheduled, 5 games against the Cubs. That may be, if the Brewers get out to, say, 4 games, by the time they go to Chicago and they, God forbid, for Chicago's sake, the Brewers win 4 out of 5, I think it's over. They'd walk away with They'd walk away with a 4, 5, 6, 7 game lead, doing the math correctly. At that point, it's over. It's done.
Isn't that incredible to think that way?
Yeah. I think the Brewers would then basically be. That's how big that series is for both teams.
Oh, it is. It's going to be huge. And the Brewers still got to keep playing well until then. You mentioned the series with the Mets coming up this weekend. It's not going to be easy. The Mets are just one of those teams that if you catch them on a good day for them, they're going to be problems. If you catch them while they're sleepwalking, well, you could take 2 or 3 or sweep a series from them because the Mets, they certainly have that capability as well, despite all their stars of just being flat. But yeah, I'm even shooting for more at this point, Bill, than catching the Cubs. I feel like they need to get one of the top 2 seeds, which by having the 2 best records in the National League, so you can avoid that wild card round, which has been their demise the last few years.
Yeah. Chuck, Joey Ortiz, away from American Family Field, he hits like crazy. At American Family Field, can't get out of a wet paper bag. Can you explain it?
Yep. The guy's Cal Ripken away from AmFam Field, but then there's other times when you hear the grumblings of the crowd. Hard to explain. It's hard to explain. There's certain things on this team that are hard to explain. There's many. I mean, not only that. Why has Caleb Durbin been sitting the last 3 games? I'm sure he's going to be in the lineup tonight against the left-hander, but they've been playing Sigler the last 3 games, who gives them nothing. Over at third. There's certain things, Bill, on this team that you look at and are like, how are they 24 games over the 500 mark?
Right.
Yep, there they are. They just go out, as you mentioned at the top, Bill. You hit it right on. A fun team to watch. They have great team chemistry. They enjoy playing with one another. And, yeah, there's teams more talented, but nobody plays harder, and nobody plays with more passion than these guys right here. I've seen more talent in Milwaukee Brewers teams in the past, but I don't know if I've ever seen a team quite like this one right here.
Chuck, do you get the sense that people are starting to buy in, or do you get the sense that people are going, man, this is really fun to watch, but everybody's waiting for the wheels to fall off?
Well, I feel there's some of that out there right there, where people are saying, well, they're just setting us up for failure. But then they go out and keep on winning games. They get beat by the Cubs last week, like 10-3, 11-3 in that game last Wednesday. The trading deadline comes, nothing happens. Everybody is, not feeling well about the team again. And then they come out and they sweep Washington and they take the first one against Atlanta. And I don't want to hear the critics saying, Bill, wow, they're beating bad teams here. No, they're not. I mean, yeah, they are, but still, they're going out and pounding some of these teams, and they're doing what they have to do.
Right.
Going out and winning baseball games. These are major league teams they're playing, and they're going out and winning these games, getting amazing, amazing pitching. So, this team is the best team in baseball. It's so surreal to say that this team is the best team in baseball, but the bottom line is they just are. You don't luck yourself into 24 games over the 500 mark.
Right.
You don't trip and fall and get that. You worked for that. They worked for that. They worked for 93 wins last year. And by gosh, man, they're steamrolling toward 100 right now, as weird as that sounds.
Yeah, right. And at the beginning of the season, we thought, 87, 88 wins, that'd be a pretty good season. Now you're kind of talking about the possibility of 100 wins on the season, which is phenomenal. Chuck, you and I have not spoke since the trade deadline, and the price got a little bit high for Suarez. We all knew that was going to go up. They didn't want to dive into that pool. But the moves they made, picking up a guy that's not going to play this year, picking up Shelby Miller for the back end of the bullpen, possibly for the stretch run, getting Lockridge, who came in, struck out his first at bat, and then after that went on a tear against Washington. And much like, when they picked up Vaughn was considered like a cast-off who couldn't get it done in the bigs, and all of a sudden he has become a tremendous hitter for the Brewers. Did the trade deadline impress you in the fact that they didn't mortgage the future, or did it bother you that they didn't do more?
Well, it kind of bothered me a little bit. I mean, on one hand, I'm like, well, do you want to ruin team chemistry? But then, you look at the numbers on the left side and, you stop being sentimental and saying, and then you go like, well, maybe they need somebody over at third base. But you look at Suarez. Since he's been traded to Seattle, he's batting like 111.
Yeah.
He had a terrible weekend. So, the Brewers aren't doing much better over at third base with Ziegler, but still, I feel like they needed to do something. They didn't. All these other teams, I feel like, who have done things and made big splashes, well, I mean, look at the Yankees. The Yankees went out and got themselves, made all these moves and all. They were 1-4 since the All-Star or since the trading deadline. So I just think that the Brewers got something special going on, Hill. When you have this pitching staff, where none of these guys are making $30 million a year, and you know how it is with starting pitching, you're paying a premium dollar. And yet this is the best pitching staff in baseball.
Yeah, I completely agree. Hey, the rest of the division, we talked about the Cubs, Cardinals far enough off. Cincinnati's trying to battle their way into a wild card. Do you like Cincinnati as a wild card?
Oh, yeah. I think Cincinnati's got a great shot at it. There are a few games over the 500 mark. They came back and beat the Cubs. Big series for them down in Chicago as well. I think Cincinnati, just a team that's in this division. In fact, I think Cincinnati could finish 10, 12, 13 games over the 500 mark. I don't think they've played their best baseball yet as well. I mean, they could catch the Cubs if the Cubs falter off here.
Yeah.
And then Council's really, people are really scratching their heads. But I think Cincinnati's going to the postseason.
Really? So you've got right now, obviously, the Cubs are there. You've got teams like San Diego that's knocking on the door. Philadelphia and New York still battling for the top spot in the East as to which one will actually get that. It's an interesting National League. It's a pretty good National League, as a matter of fact.
Oh, it is. It's funny, Bill. Last night on Twitter, I was on Dodgers Twitter because they're angry as well. And people are going on Dodgers Twitter, Dodger fans. Oh, we needed to go out and we need to get ourselves another bat. And I tweeted back at one of the guys. I said, you got 3 MVPs, 1, 2, 3 in that lineup. You spent a ton of money in the offseason. What more do you want? Go figure it out. My goodness.
Right. Exactly. Well, that's the other thing. Say they falter or stub their toe down the stretch or get knocked off in the postseason, even though they're coming back from, a World Series not that long ago. They've been in the World Series. They've been in an NLCS. What would it take for Dave Roberts to be on the hot seat?
Well, stumbling in the postseason, I think. They won a World Series, so, that buys a little bit.
Yeah.
But, I watch the Dodgers play the Brewers, and that's another team. Sometimes it's like, well, I mean, can you just turn the switch on in October? Maybe, but man, they look complacent, and the Brewers just, you get complacent against the Milwaukee Brewers, and you start throwing the ball around, and you start stumbling around, making errors, throwing off pickoffs. The Brewers will eat you alive, and that's what they've done. They eat teams like that alive. You saw in the Washington on Sunday. Washington's error, throwing the ball around, wild pickoff plays. Brewers will eat you alive if you do stupid stuff like that.
Yeah, and they did it on Friday night as well in that game. Where the Brewers put up, 38 runs? I mean, it was a crazy game to listen to driving out here to Sturgis where the Nationals were throwing the ball around as well. Chuck, where can they find you, my friend?
Bill, as always, well, you won't find me in Sturgis this weekend, but you might find me on YouTube if you're out there. Go to Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button on Locked On Brewers on YouTube. It'll alert you for every time we get an episode. Please go to YouTube or on any audio platform for podcasts. All the platforms Just search Locked On Brewers. We're on all of them. We're the number one Brewers podcast on the internet. Daily, we're producing content. We'll have one later on tonight after the game. Bill, as always, each and every Tuesday, it's a pleasure being on your show, my friend.
You the man, Chuck. Appreciate it as always, pal. And we will talk to you again real soon, okay?
You got it.
So, there you go. Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers podcast. And that is a growing channel because there's a lot of bandwagon fans that, hey, that's okay. The bandwagon shocks are sturdy, baby. Jump on board. The Brewers with the best record in baseball, 3 games up on the Chicago Cubs.
Can I just ask, is Chuck going to an REO Speedwagon concert this afternoon? Is he about to hit the golf course? That's as fired up as I've heard him in weeks. What's gotten into him?
He's probably hitting the golf course. As a matter of fact, I just saw a picture of him, I think it was yesterday, and he was on the golf course. So whenever there's pink pants, white pants, pink shirt, and golf balls involved, Chuck is always a very jovial guy.
Maybe I can tell you a little bit more detail on this, the final segment of the hour coming up. But Chuck has been raising the ire of our own Austin Harper on Twitter. He's got Austin. I got to explain this to you coming up, but he is throwing Austin for a complete loop with some of the things he's been saying.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Let's do that when we come back. This portion of the program brought to you by our terrific friends at Buzzard Billy's on Pearl Street, La Crosse, Wisconsin. Also, the Starlight Lounge just upstairs. Buzzard Billy's, terrific food. And really good fish fry on Friday nights as well. Starlight Lounge, great date night place, great place to get a cocktail, classic martini, and it just feels like that 1950s, 60s vibe in that place. Really, really nice, very significant upstairs when you get upstairs in the Pearl Street location. Buzzard Billy's downstairs, Starlight Lounge upstairs with a lot of great stuff going on. Stop in, check it out, and make sure you tell them we sent you.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Hey, our buddy Mike Clemens, brought to you by the Bay Motel in Green Bay. Bay Motel, quiet, cozy, comfortable, perfect for that family stay. If you're heading up to check something out, say like the Packers Hall of Fame, training camp, game day, you name it. BayMotelGreenBay.com. That is BayMotelGreenBay.com. The family restaurant attached. Serving that home-style stuff continuously. Fantastic. Just a mile from Lambeau Field. Home-style cooking 7 days a week over there. That is BayMotelGreenBay.com. BayMotelGreenBay.com. Stop in and check it out. Just give them a buzz. So, Grant, what is Chuck in Austin, our buddy intern Austin, Stone Cold?
Correct.
Is, I guess, going back and forth, because Austin, for those who don't know, is a massive Cubs fan. He's a guy
Correct.
that is looking for the Cubs to make that charge, and they continue to fall short. And I guess they're going back and forth in that you have witnessed.
Well, they're not going back and forth. I think Austin might have quote tweeted one of Chuck's tweets. The thing is, Chuck, and he alluded this to in his hit with you, he's kind of been attacking the character of the Cubs as this lazy team that kind of sleepwalks through games. Meanwhile, the Brewers, I mean, they show up just ready to crack skulls, every night. So Chuck keeps pointing this out, and it's driving Austin nuts. The other night, he texted me, he said, I might need to block Chuck. I can't do this anymore. I said, just mute. Don't block, just mute so you don't have to see it. But I remember when Ben Kenny used to go nuts because Chuck would call Embiid a lazy fat bum, and it would get Ben rattled. And I think actually Chuck might have been right about that because it looks like Embiid's hurt again and he might not be ready for the season.
Right.
So Chuck has been right about these things in the past. I think it's a council thing too. Like his teams are always very slow and steady. And, Murph has been, when they're losing, he'll bench guys and have meetings. And when they're winning, you just see this energy in a way that you don't with the Cubs.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I've said there's an energy with Murph because there's an intensity with Murph. I can't explain it. It's like you walk into a room with people and one person you can say hi to and it's very casual. Another person just kind of dominates the room with an energy. It seems like Murph just has that. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. We're at the halfway point. 2 hours down, 2 hours yet to go. Broadcasting live here in Sturgis, South Dakota. Pappy, Hoel Campground and the Full Throttle Saloon. We got more coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers are still in Atlanta. It's where they're going to face the Braves again tonight in the second game of their three-game series. Milwaukee took the opener 3-1 last night thanks to a 3-run homer from Isaac Collins. It also helped being able to turn the ball over to Trevor McGill in the ninth inning. He threw just 7 pitches to get his 25th save of the season. Manager Pat Murphy praised his efforts and his impact on the club.
For guys that know him well, he's taken a step, like a definite step. And he was very, very good for us last year, and he's very good for us this year. But now he's taken that step into it seems like, I'm not going to put labels on him. I just say he's taken a step, and he's good. Wow, underrated, like all these guys are.
Tonight, the crew's going to send Freddie Peralta to the mound. He's 12-5 with a 3.08 ERA. Going to be looking to bounce back from a rough start against Chicago when he gave up 5 runs and walked 4 in just 4 innings. Braves counter with Joey Wentz. He enters 2-2 with a 5.02 ERA, pitching for his 3rd different team this year. Milwaukee comes into the day with the best record in baseball, a 3-game lead on Chicago in the NL Central.
For nearly 40 years, ABC Wisconsin Apprenticeship has been helping men and women transform themselves into highly skilled trade professionals. These skills are in demand and provide strong wages and benefits for a bright future. If you're a hands-on person who likes the feeling when you get projects done, apprenticeship could be for you. Go to buildyourcareerwi.org or just search online for ABC of Wisconsin.
The Packers returned to the field this morning after getting a couple days off from practice. It did not include quarterback Nate Hobbs. He underwent minor knee surgery, expected to miss a couple of weeks. Packers open the preseason on Saturday against the Jets. And Wisconsin getting a day off from practice down in Platteville. Will be back out there tomorrow. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zack Heilprin.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Bill Michaels Show. We are on the air. We are glad you are with us. As the famous Brent Musburger would say, you are looking live. If you're watching us on a stream at the Bear Butte in the background, which is just, this is the office view today. I mean, come on, man, right? The office view today is spectacular. Bear Butte in the background. You've got the giant Olympic-sized pool off to the left, Full Throttle Saloon in the vision off to the right. If you're watching us, then you go to the other view, which is the tail end of that, with Full Throttle off to the left, the Ferris wheel right here at the Pappy Hoel Campground Check-In Center. And then off to the right is just views of mountains, and you can see for 40 miles. It's just stunning here. Just stunning here. So great to have everybody on board. Thanks for watching us. Thanks for paying attention to us. Thanks for listening to us. He left. Where'd he go? So a listener in Green Bay, his name's Dennis, who was here. He came upstairs and just wanted to say hi. Listens to us every day. Listens to Bill and Rookie and the guys over on WDUZ. Drives a truck for a living, and he is here enjoying the Sturgis 85th anniversary. And came by to say hello and listens to us right after the guys in the morning on WDOZ. So wanted to say how much he enjoyed the program. So thanks to him. Thanks to Dennis for stopping by. But I thought, during the break, I'd take a picture with Dennis. But Dennis came up, waved, and got the hell out of here. So he's got
places to be.
Yeah, he's got places to be, people to hang out with. He's going over to the pool. I can see him walking away right now, heading over to the pool area. And that's okay. He's got things to do. He's out here to enjoy himself. He doesn't have to hang out with me.
Did he give you an opinion on whether or not starters should play in the preseason? Is that something he feels strongly about?
He did not. He just simply wanted to talk more about the show and saying how much he likes us. He didn't get too deep into his philosophical thoughts. Which he had, like we said, he had things to do. He's got stuff, people to waiting on him, I guess. He's in shorts though. I don't think he's riding anywhere. Actually, he's on the phone right now. Maybe somebody's calling him to say, "Hey, Bill Michaels was talking about you," but who knows? He's walking back down the steps. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, got all of that going on. 877-867-1670. I'm going to get to the text messages, emails to get to today. You want to get a hold of us via text message, 608-321-1670, 608-321-1670. That's the way to track us down. You can also find us 877-867-1670 if you want to give us a phone call. You want to send us an email, thebillmichaels@gmail.com, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. You can find us there. We are on YouTube, and you can watch us on YouTube, youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show, youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. Find us there. Don't forget, we're a television show as well. You can watch us every Saturday night in Milwaukee on My24 TV. That's My24 TV in Milwaukee. Plus, there's so many other facets. There's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's TikTok, there's the Twitch app, the Kick app, the LinkedIn app as well. So many things. Plus, don't forget the website. Just simply go to the website, thebillmichaels.com, thebillmichaels.com, or thebillmichaels@gmail.com. You can shoot us an email there as well. And so many other after facts. That is Spotify, Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts as well. So I think I've gone through the whole litany of things and the ways to find us. We were talking before about the Packers. And what is that? He wants to know what the best food. Goutfoot 1 says, "What's the best food you've had at Sturgis?" We've had some good food, but a lot of it's bar food. There's been nothing that's been unique where you went, "Oh my God, this is fantastic." It's a lot of bar food. I'll be honest with you now, and I'm not doing this because of the plug, okay, and because they're a sponsor. I swear to God to you. Last night I grilled out for everybody, and I told you that we brought the pre-made burgers and brats and all that stuff from Roberts with us. And now I grilled the burgers. The burgers are pre-made, bacon cheddar burgers. They have chunks of bacon, chunks of cheddar cheese, and then you put a slice of cheddar cheese on top of them when you serve them. But I made those on the grill last night with some of the really hot, spicy Italian sausages they make down there at Roberts. And there was a group of people that came over, some friends of friends, so to speak, and they came over and ate. And we probably had, I don't know, maybe 7 to 10 people, something like that were there. And everybody was raving about the burgers and just going, oh, my God, these burgers are the best. And we've had burgers here already. So the best food we've had has been the food that we brought and cooked, because it was the potato salad, the pasta salad from Roberts, this bacon, this BLT macaroni salad we had from Roberts, plus the burgers. And then afterwards, what was left of the State Fair brownies, that was dessert. That was the best meal we've had. Otherwise, you're on the move. You're kind of in, I don't want to say dive bars, but kind of, So you're getting a burger here, corn dog there, It's not the best of food when it comes to sitting down and eating gourmet. Now, it still could happen, but, it just hasn't been the best in that sense.
Roasted prairie dog, nothing like that.
No prairie
delicacies.
No.
Okay. No Rocky Mountain oysters.
No. And this cat is not doing that. I'll tell you that right damn now. But no prairie dog roasting, nothing like that. This is who is this from? Basically says Murphy instills a will to sacrifice out of his players. I think this was present when Counsell was there. Perhaps though, Counsell benefited from when Murph was there. Now that Murph is out front, the culture is now thriving. Guys want to put in the work for the time and for him, and for those guys left to right of them. I don't want to. I feel like if we give Pat Murphy all this credit, that we're in some way disparaging Craig Counsell. Because don't forget, he's the winningest manager in Brewers history. He did a lot here. I will agree. Look, the proof is in the pudding of what Murph has been able to do in the year and a half that he's been the manager. Okay, you can't disparage Murph in that sense either. It's different, that's for sure. I can't sit here and say that Murphy's a better manager or a worse manager, because you got to go with a little more longevity. But we talked about this yesterday. Will he be the best manager in Brewers history if he wins the World Series? Of course he will be. Will he be the best manager in Brewers history if he gets to a lot of postseasons but doesn't win or get to a World Series? Well, then it goes back to how many wins he ends up with, because that's what Craig Counsell did when he was here. And Craig Counsell kind of went through the rebuild as well, if you want to call it that. So it's winning is the ultimate deodorant, and that's the cliche, and it's a cliche like that for a reason. And they've been winning in spite of what everybody thinks talent-wise they have. And that might be the best way to put it. Is that due to Murph? Is that due to the clubhouse culture? Is that due to the guys? Is that due to Matt Arnold finding this unbelievable talent under rocks that no one else is looking? I don't know. But it's kind of like we want to make a conclusion about it. It's kind of like when people look at somebody who plays extremely well in the NBA and the next thing you know, they're the next Jordan. It's that, it's or a terrific quarterback comes out like Jaden Daniels last year, and next thing you know, he's the next Patrick Mahomes. Or a quarterback gets a couple, they were talking about Jalen Hurts the other day about how Jalen Hurts has been to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. And if he continues this with this pace with Nick Sirianni and different coordinators, and he'll actually be considered better than Brady, which made me scratch my head. And I'm like, well, I think we're too quick to try to make an assumption and a comparison to prove a point, if that makes sense. I just... Right now, I have to be perfectly honest. I am just enjoying watching the ride. I'm just enjoying being on it. I'm enjoying being a Brewers fan. I don't dare dream over the cliff. I dream climbing the mountain, because with every step you take upwards, you're heading towards something. right now I don't want to look down, and I don't want to look what's over the next, area, so to speak. So when it comes to Murph, I just look at Pat Murphy and go, he's a very likable guy. I can't say anything negative about Murphy. I mean, even in the management of the bullpen, which is what people get bananas over. And they used to go crazy with counsel for the management of the bullpen. I can't argue that. He's made some moves that looked very smart that haven't worked out. He's made some moves where they have worked out. It's been nail biters, and you still get the win. They still have a will to win. They still, the description from Lane Grindle said that, you throw the meat in the middle of the room and you got a pack of wild dogs going after it and they don't quit. I mean, all of that. I mean, whatever adjective and scenario you want to throw out there, that's great. It all describes right now what we consider and the rest of the world now can see as a winning team. So I'm just kind of enjoying the ride without getting into the deep comparisons. So, yeah, we'll make all those assessments at the end of the season. And hopefully it's after a winning season. But for those, like I say, the naysayers, the finger pointers, if the Brewers lose, we'll see what the bitterness brings. What is the season? Because, like I said, I thought 87 wins. I believe they're going to blow past that, barring some kind of losing streak. I think they're going to blow past that.
And I think the vibe or the energy of this team is a real thing. I did a hit on our Rock Morning show this morning, just talking about the Brewers. And I think they win some games, which makes it fun. And because it's fun, it's easier to win more games.
Sure.
So then they win more games, and that makes it more fun. Like they're in the opposite of whatever a vicious circle would be. They're in the opposite of that for the best, right? Because even as like Churio gets hurt or they lose guys, they keep winning. So the vibes keep climbing higher. The confidence keeps climbing higher. So it's easier to win more games. And then they win more games and so on and so forth. It feels like they're caught in that cycle and have been for a while now.
Art says, hey, Unit, do you think Matt LaFleur should take some notes from Pat Murphy on how to manage his guys? No, it's apples to oranges. You're talking about the current success of a manager who his team is having fun. They're winning games. They're doing it on a nightly. We get to enjoy it. They've climbed over the rival. All of that. That's where your optimism and your joy comes from. Matt LaFleur is a different character. If Matt LaFleur got overly intense and tried to be this fatherly figure, grandfatherly figure to some of these guys, it would be out of character for him. I want to see Matt LaFleur win doing it his way, but learning from past mistakes. He doesn't need to be Pat Murphy to suddenly win, because I think guys would see through that. Be yourself. Be yourself, but get better. But get better along the way. I think we want to make all these comparisons, and it's easy when you're winning. Where you really gain your character and grow your cojones is when you're losing, is when you face adversity. I thought Matt LaFleur's best coaching jobs were his first year, taking over a really lackluster, poor, and divided team after Mike McCarthy's departure and taking them to an NFC championship game. And then the year after Aaron Rodgers, and taking the adversity, being able to cultivate a culture, bringing around the quarterback and making him absolutely shine with his own ability and play calling in that first year of Jordan Love under center. And then the excitement with the game plan and such that they ran against the Cowboys, giving us legitimate thoughts that they could go into San Francisco and win. And they could have. They still could have won that game. And ended up in an NFC championship game back in Detroit, where they could have exercised some of those, recent Dan Campbell demons. So I think those are the two best seasons out of Matt LaFleur. Don't change who you are, accentuate who you are by getting better at being you. So no, I don't think he needs to be Pat Murphy. I don't think he needs, maybe you take notes. I mean, winners take notes from winners. That's what you do. You aspire. CEOs look at other CEOs with more successful companies and they say, how is that guy doing it? Is he doing it because he's got better people around him? Is he doing it because he's making better decisions? Is he doing it because the personnel that are underneath even his stellar group of management, they're treating their people right? I mean, is it doing it because they're producing better product? I mean, what is the reason they're successful? And as a CEO, you would look at that and go, how can I be better? So he can take something from Murph, but don't become Murph. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Find us. We'd love that. Great conversation, though. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Denny's. They're running shuttles to the Wisconsin State Fair. They're going to be running some shuttles to the Packers games. They're going to be running shuttles to the Badgers games, Bucks games, and everything downtown. When the Animals get back on the ice, they're going to be doing that. To the concerts, you name it. They've always got shuttles going. Always check Denny's, both Lake Country and downtown, second and national in Walker's Point. But you can always stop in, get yourself one of the award-winning Bloody Marys or just a fresh cold beverage. Get yourself some terrific food. Jump on a shuttle. You're good to go. Don't forget, coming up at Second and National, it is their 40th anniversary party coming up the first week of September. We're going to be down there doing a live broadcast as well. So we're really looking forward to all of that. 40 years, that's saying something. Think about all the bars and restaurants that have come and gone in your neighborhood over 40 years. Think about that. And Stenny's, they've been doing it, winning awards and all that kind of good stuff for 40 plus years. Stenny's, Second and National, Walker's Point, the new one out in Lake Country in Pewaukee on Watertown Road. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Gear up for Quick Trip's Mountain Dew Quick Climb. Now through August 17th. Play free daily in the Quick Rewards app and earn bonus plays with every eligible purchase. Grab one with hot food. That's 2 bonus plays. Each week, the cash prize climbs by $5,000, all the way to a $250,000 grand prize. So open the app and get climbing. Your summer, your climb, your win. No purchase necessary. Open to U.S. residents residing in Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, Michigan, South Dakota, North Dakota, or Wisconsin. Ends August 17th. Bonus plays require qualifying purchase. See full rules at quicktrip.com/sweepstakes.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
You look at Lockridge and Siegler, and they don't have very many Major League ABs. So once again, I go back to their hunger. They want to impress. They want to be here. And then Durbin's been on the bench a couple of days, so he's like, wait a minute. And that matters. You know, Ortiz finding himself. So all that is collectively a healthy situation when you have young, hungry players.
Pat Murphy talking about his guys, specifically some of the newer guys, additions to the Milwaukee Brewers roster, and the success that they have had. I want to remind you, the Third Ward Beer Garden at Catalano Square open for business, and it has been a boon this year. The weather has been pretty good. There was a couple of rainouts early on, but for the most part, it's been really good. The weather, while it's hot, still conducive for a few good local beverages down there at the Third Ward Beer Garden. Also a reminder, once the fair is over, you've got another couple of Wednesday night lives that are going to be back, but it is our night on Wednesday night, August 27th. Boo the Band taking the stage out at the Wisconsin State Fair Park in the Bud Pavilion. We are going to be there on hand. It is our promotion for our 18th annual Big Unit Poker Run, and we can't say thanks enough to Leanne Hawk and everybody out there at the Bud Pavilion for allowing us some time to be able to talk a little bit about it. But if you're a motorcyclist and you want to come out that night, we're getting people registered for the ride that night, and it'll only be a few days before we ride, because that is our big push as we get to the rest of our pre-registrants together. And a reminder, when it comes to pre-registering, we have both guitars out here in Sturgis. They are currently backstage down at Full Throttle Saloon, where Count 77, the guys from Counting Cars, Danny Coker and the gang, they are signing them today. Disturbed is signing them tonight, the band Disturbed. And then on Thursday, the guys from Jackal are going to be signing them. And we're going to have one guitar, which is going to go to our gala coming up in March. And the next guitar is going to be awarded to someone who pre-registers for the motorcycle ride. So whether you got 300 or 800 people, it's a 1 in 800 chance, we'll say, of winning that guitar. And it only goes to those who pre-registered. One person out of the pre-registration is going to be picked to win that guitar, and you can take it home that day, should you choose to do so. If you are on a bike and you can't carry it, that's fine. We'll hang on to it until you can come back and get it. But one of you will win that guitar that's autographed by those three specific bands and three relatively famous people, so groups, we'll say. So by all means, get registered. Go to bigunitfoundation.com. That is bigunitfoundation.com. And again, it's the 18th annual Big Unit Poker Run. It's benefiting Big Unit Foundation and then supporting our friends from Fisher House, Wisconsin. Sunday, August 31st, the 18th annual gets underway. Go to bigunitfoundation.com, or if you're watching online, scan the QR code. It'll take you right to the registration page, get you all signed up, get you all done, and we'll be good to go. We cannot wait, 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Give us a shout. We would love to hear from you. I got some text messages to get to. This is from Grain Man Mike. I feel that Murphy and Council coached very similarly when Murphy got here. I feel like Craig went away from his identity the last couple of years with the crew, trying to adapt to what baseball was going to. Very similar to what the Badgers are going through now. When they went away from playing Wisconsin football, Murphy is coaching like he did at Arizona State, because let's face it, most of these guys aren't far removed from that level of baseball. There you go. Out of the 920, great show. I'm in Green Bay, and it's all Packers. Love the Brewers talk. Keep it up. That is Matt in Green Bay. Corey from Marshall, non-sports FYI for Bill. Flyovers from Sturgis today. B1 Bomber, 3 o'clock Mountain Time. Did not know that. I will look for it. So 3 o'clock Mountain Time, which is 2 o'clock, right as we're getting off the air. So the fly over the B-1 Bomber about the time we're getting off the air. Be great if they were a couple of minutes early and we actually were able to catch it on camera. Right? What else do we have? Ryan in Manitowoc. Just wanted to let you guys know you do such a good job with the show, from the clips, the guests, the questions you put out there, etc. I'm actually a casual Brewers fan. I even look forward to Chuck Freeman and the Brewers talk. Of course, being a rabid football fan, my favorite is always my guy, Mike Clemens. There you go. Mike's always everybody's favorite, without a doubt. This one out of the email side of things. We got a lot of emails coming in. Jacob says, they're even up 3 games on the best record in Major League Baseball. Fantastic. Keep rolling against San Diego. Philadelphia meets Detroit and Toronto as well. That's from our buddy Jacob as a Brewers fan saying, hey, don't forget that not only do they have the best record in baseball, but they have the best record in baseball by 3 games. Not even close there. So, which, got to remember that. 100% agree with you. 877-867-1670, 877-867. The Brewers, by the way, here's some things to think about, different facets. And by the way, we're going to go back up into Green Bay at the bottom of the hour, and we'll talk a little more Packers. But the Brewers, because Ted says when the Brewers get out to an early lead, they usually end up winning a ball game. Can you corroborate this? When they score first, the Brewers are 49-14. 49-14. When they're leading after 7, they've only lost 4 games. When they're trailing after 7, at one point they were, I think, 0-20 something. Now they're 4-37. So they've actually had some come from behind wins. If they're tied after 7, they're 6-3. If they're leading after 8 innings, they are 62-2. 62-2. Think about that. They're dead even if they don't hit a home run. They're 21-21. If they do hit a home run, they're 47-23, which almost guarantees the fact that they're going to end up winning the ball game. There's just a lot of nuances here. They're 17-12 against the National League Central, 15-7 against the National League East. They are 45-28 against the National League overall, and against the West, they are 13-9. 13-9. By the way, one of the best days for Brewers baseball is a Tuesday. They are 12-4 on Tuesdays. So today being a Tuesday, I'm looking forward to it. Just a couple of things I thought I'd throw out there for you. Just a couple of statistics that you can kind of, dazzle friends with if you decide to go out tonight. Maybe you're sitting at your local pub getting ready to sit down and watch the Brewers game. The likelihood of them winning today is very real. If you're going to throw some money down on the Brewers, throw some down on the Brewers. That's it. Simple as that. All right, coming up after the bottom of the hour, the Packers' undrafted free agent from Georgia, Nizer Stackhouse, who is impressed. Mike Clemens got a chance to sit down and chat with him, among others. So you're going to hear that conversation when we return. So don't go anywhere. Go back up into Green Bay a little bit and get a little deeper into that. This portion of the program brought to you by our great friends. And this year, our landing spot, Suburban Harley-Davidson in Thiensville, they're putting on a heck of a show. They are getting food trucks for us. They've got the stage. Six Pack Sammy's going to be playing. They've got bikes if you want to join us. They've got motor clothes. They've got. I just went there for parts. I have gotten rave reviews off of my Ciro taillights, the fillers that I put in on both sides of the bags in the back of my 2020 Road Glide Limited. So the Ciro lights, the job that they did, impeccable. Perfect. Just love them. Love the look now of the bike on the backside. And got the advice on doing so from my friends over there at Suburban Harley, which was a lot cheaper than going with the whole beauty ring around the bottom of the fender and all that kind of stuff. They're like, no, do this and it'll save you a lot of money unless you really are emphatic about extending the rear fender. And if you're a rider, you know what I'm talking about. So I said, no, let's try their suggestion. Perfect. It all worked out. That's our friends at Suburban Harley-Davidson. Check out Todd and the gang out there. If you're stopping in, you can always scan the QR code on the posters that are hanging up all over the place for the Big Unit 18th Annual Big Unit Poker Run. Scan those QR codes, get registered. But that is going to be the landing spot for this year's party. Getting back to our roots, getting back to Harley, getting back. And by the way, it's open to all bikes. I've had a couple of questions about, well, can I ride this? Can I ride that? Whether it's an Indian, whether it's a Honda, it's a Suzuki, bring them. I don't care. If it's on 2 wheels and got a motor, except for the e-bikes, if it's on 2 wheels and got a motor, bring it, man. And I'm talking e-bikes as the pedal kind, not e-bikes as an electric motorcycle. But that being said, come on out and join us because all we care about that day is raising money for veterans, military members, and their families. That's what that's all about. But Suburban Harley offered it up. Let's get back to our roots, and that's where we're going to land for the party afterwards. Suburban Harley-Davidson. Go to suburbanharley.com. That is suburbanharley.com. We'll go inside the Packers locker room coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Your Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. We're broadcasting live. We're in Sturgis, South Dakota. Pappy, Hoel Campground, Full Throttle Saloon. But back home, for those of you that are out riding, specifically in the Lake Country area, some great places to be a part of. Stoley's Hog Alley in Oconomowoc, in Summit, on Venice Beach Road right there. Whether it's going in for the burgers, the pizza, or the terrific staff, or just a great place to ride out there by Upper Nabob and Lower Nabob and lakes. Then there's Stoles 019. Stoles 019, by the way, the second stop on this year's motorcycle ride. Stoles 019, beautiful ride out there into the Watertown area on County Road R. Love all the TVs, and they have live music out there quite often, and a big patio. They open up those garage doors, bring the outside in, the inside out, and terrific food. Same owners, by the way, same owners. But Stoles 019 in Watertown, the second stop on this year's 18th annual Big Unit Poker Run, and we can't say thanks enough to Jeff Stoley for supporting us, and he always has. It's never even been a question. I call up and I say, it's that time of year. He's like, what do you need? It's not, hey, how much? Or, well, we don't know. It's always, what do you need? What can we do? He's always been there. So thanks to Jeff and Alicia for being a part of this, but more so than anything, Stoles 019. Stop number 2 on this year's 18th annual Big Unit Poker Run on County Road R in Watertown. There you go. All right, let's do this. We go inside the Green Bay Packers locker room. Nizer Stackhouse, he is getting a chance as an undrafted free agent. A guy that just is looking to kind of latch on and open some eyes and say hello and such. Met with the media. Take a listen.
So we've heard a lot about Wendell, ball king, and just forcing takeaways. How has he enforced that to be a big emphasis in this defense?
He's done a great job enforcing that. Like, I haven't, I'm sorry. I haven't, it's been a while since, I would say it's been a while since I've been with a coach, especially like Wendell, who preaches about taking away the ball every day. And I can't say that like it's only influenced me and motivated me to try to get the ball every moment I get. Like, I still haven't got me one, and it's like every day I go to practice, I'll be like, I gotta give me a punch out. Only because like Wendell has just invested that into our heads. Like, it's in the back of our minds every time. Like, you see the DBs, anytime they're running downfield, and sometimes the receivers are getting back up off the ground and they're punching at the balls, because like he has done a great job at just presenting just ways of getting the ball out, and we've done a good job at just doing that.
Why do you think it's important that he's enforced that 43 mindset of trying to force 43 fumbles?
Because it challenges us. It gives us the opportunity to want to go out there and get the ball, and like, you know, and it helps us as a team collectively on offense and defense, because with the offense knowing that we're coming after the ball, it's only going to help them with carrying it, you know, and tucking that ball, making sure it's safe. But like, our mindset every time we step foot on that field is just trying to attack the ball. It's like, man, like the opportunity to get it helps the team with turnovers, and it helps the team with wins too as well. And so just enforcing that it's just a big thing.
So you're an offensive line. You're trying to secure the tackle at the same time and force a fumble. But you want to try and get that down to almost like a reflex.
Yeah, it's like a reflex. It's almost like second nature. Like, we wake up in the morning, we brush our teeth, wash our face every day, and whenever we're holding up a tackle, like if I'm not getting the ball, the next person is. And so like, it's like we try to make it second nature, and like that 43, like that number, like it's embedded in all our heads. So especially the defense. So when we're going out there and we see a screen that's passed and the first person gets the hit, the next person is getting a punch out every time. Even with the D line, like if someone's coming through the line of scrimmage and one of us grabs the running back, or it could be a quarterback, we're punching at the ball. We're trying to rip out the ball every time. We want the offense to know that, hey, we're coming to get the ball, so you need to protect it. If you're not going to protect it, then we're going to hit it every time.
It's a running back, 30 yards downfield, because kids think, I'll just run it out the came from behind and try to be like a
and that lets you know that Wendell is doing a great job, because mind you, like, if getting the ball is something that you think about on a play, then you're going to run 30 to 40 yards to get it. Like, you're not thinking about the yards running. You're not thinking about how tired you are. You're thinking about, oh, this guy doesn't see me coming. He doesn't think I'm going to run this far to get it. I'm going to get this punch out. And even if it is a failure, you know that it's in your head every time. Even if you don't even get it off with that first punch, you're going to keep attempting to get it every time.
It's like to make that a habit. Like day one, day two,
day one.
And
yep. It starts at day one. Like, he had to come up. It does a great job of just presenting different ways of getting the ball off. We have three different teams of multiple players. We have GMs for those teams. RG, Xavier, and I forget who the last one is, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, Quay. There are the GMs of these three different teams. These three teams have different players on them, and we get points for punch outs, interceptions, forced fumbles, even scoops. Even if the ball is incomplete, we get a scoop. That's a point. So just having that system of getting like points, guys in their head like, we got to get a turn. Let's get a turnover. So guys are thinking in their head, let me get this punch out so I can get points for my team. And so when you got guys like out there punching at the ball, like, mind you, there's also a system that they're trying to build up points for you, and at the end we all get a belt for our team. So, but I'm not saying that's why we punch the ball. That also helps with just the nature of playing football. Like, you know what I mean? We want to get turnovers. We want to even reach that 43 mark. You know what I mean? Get close to it, because that lets us know that it's possible.
So it's not just offense versus defense. It's defense versus this guy's unit of defense. It's like fantasy football within defensive practice.
There you go, man. You just do your thing. Like, when the guys go out there, when our unit meetings and when to go out there and present, we already know what time it is. We're trying to get that ball every time, regardless on how we get it. Even like incomplete pass, we scooping that thing. So this is how it is.
How's camp going for you so far? Today, LaFleur said you're starting to earn a shot with the ones.
Yeah, I'm on a shot with the ones. I'm getting a feel for the ones. Like, mind you, like, it's all just a development piece at this point. I'm still like on my way up. You know, I just been keeping my head down, take care of my body, try to do whatever it takes to, you know what I mean, earn a position on the team. But like, at the end of the day, like, I can only stay true to me, stay true to my technique, and keep doing what I've been doing.
What was it about the Packers that appealed to you when you were kind of looking after the draft?
I would say just me knowing some of the guys on the team, Devontae White, Quay Walker, John Fitzpatrick, Nico Harmon, Javon Bullard. You know what I mean? Just me knowing those guys made me feel comfortable coming here. So
they have a history of undrafted rookie free agents making the roster. I mean, was that something you're aware of at all?
No.
The history of that?
No, I wasn't aware of that at all. I just had a feeling like, yeah, I want to play there. Like, I can definitely start there. Let's start somewhere, you know. Obviously, you know, some guys who don't get drafted, they think it's the end of the world. Like me, I wanted to make like a step somewhere and start. So when they gave me that call, I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's start. Let's do it. I could literally be, I don't know, playing Canadian football. I wouldn't mind doing that either. But when they gave me that call, like, I had to start there.
Now you're running Packers football, but when you've got that many teammates and guys that have been here in the last couple of years, you know, you come in playing Georgia football, right? Does that make you feel like you've got something in common? The things that you learned at Georgia?
When I think Georgia football, I think about the hard way, solid, firm, resisting the pressure, not easily being broken and pierced. When I think about Georgia, that's what I think about, the hard way. And the hard way is being done here in Green Bay. So, like, coming here, like, yes, that motto has been carried with me from Athens, Georgia to here too as well. Like, just not even just the players from Georgia. Like, we got guys like Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary. We got guys like Jordan Love. They're balling out and they're coming in every day with that mindset that they want to win. That's the same mindset we had when we were at Georgia my first 3-4 years. And it's like, and you see how that been. We got national championships, we got SC championships. And it's like, when you come in with that work mindset, you'll be victorious at the end.
Tomorrow's kind of a big night around these parts. What's the vibe for family night, and have they prepped you for what to expect out there?
Yeah, for sure. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, some guys like use fair taxes. At the end of the day, it's football. So, like, I know exactly how it's going to get, and I know how grindy it's going to get. So I'm just preparing my mind for it and preparing my body for it, and it should be fun.
Your former Georgia teammates, what did they tell you about what to expect here?
They told me, they're like, you're gonna work. I'm like, wherever you go, you're gonna work, regardless on where you go. So not even just coming from them, just coming from guys who didn't go to Georgia. Like, when you come here, you're gonna have to work regardless.
Just if I can ask, what was it like kind of working with Warren again too? You mentioned you guys kind of have a brotherly relationship there.
It's man, Warren, I say, like, just knowing him as a player, just like, it doesn't really change my play. I just know his tendencies on the field. And so that kind of helps with our chemistry. So that's about it. Just knowing him as a person and as a player, that helps with our chemistry.
Do you remember the origin behind Ball King with Wendell?
Yeah, like we call him Ball King because that's all he talk about is the ball. Like the ball, like that's our home. That's our sanctuary. Like that's the only thing that makes football. Can't play football without a ball, can you? You know what I mean? So Wendell, that's all he talks about. So we gave him the nickname Ball King. And so if Wendell don't mess with you, you can't call him Ball King. You call him Wendell. If he mess with you, call him Ball King.
How comparable is this kind of like what y'all had back in college with the go back, force a takeaway, get back to the sideline? I guess in Georgia they had the shoulder.
Oh yeah, we had the spikes with spike pass. Yeah, we had the spike pass. Like they emphasize it a lot there. It's just that I feel like just being in the room for a lot of younger guys, didn't realize how important that ball was. Like we were first, second down team. Like we believed to defeat the run first to earn the right to pass. And so in order for us to even get to like third down, like, you know what I mean, we had to start the run first. But why get to that point where you can just get the ball off him in the first place? So it's like we try to emphasize that more because the more takeaways you get, and Glenn Schumann always preached that, let's lead in this, let's lead in takeaways, let's lead in fumble recoveries, let's lead in forced fumbles and sacks and interceptions and this and that, because most of the time the margins in that most teams win, like just off of that margin alone. Like if this team is getting more takeaways in the game, they're likely to win the game because the margins. And it's like, yeah, he emphasized it, but he only emphasized it in that way. I feel like Wendell does a good job of just making it known that, hey, like, make it part of you. So like, yeah, it could be incomplete pass, but go screw the ball up. You know what I mean? Make it like second nature. Like, go punch the ball out. Get a punch at the ball. You never know when it'll come out. Just like he just likes to do it that way to put it in our heads, make it natural.
How important is the trust and communication from each level of the defense when you guys are talking about the ball like that?
It is very important. It's crazy because we just talked about this after practice. RG really wants us to be more communicative on the line of scrimmage, to recognize formations and tendencies the offensive linemen may be giving us. If the tight ends are deep, if they're loose, if they're tight to the line, what the play is, or what's the run strength, what's the pass strength. It's very important that we emphasize that communication, like it is. And so even with the punch outs, like shoot, like, oh, get a punch out. You may hear some guys on the sideline, get a punch out, run to the ball, just run into the ball. Can also help you remember to get a punch out too as well.
You think it's a fun way to keep it light instead of getting guys closer?
It is, because like shoot, like you might have a rookie come in and he might have 2-3 punch outs since the beginning of the camp, but guys remember him because he's always on the screen during unit meetings. So they be like, oh, such and such been doing this all camp, this and that, blah blah. Because that's the way you're gonna make the team. Then so be it. Do your thing. Find an identity. Like shoot, look at Peanut Tillman. He made a name for himself punching the ball out. All right, so make a name for yourself punching the ball out here, and then your teammates will know you. They'll respect you, and they will know your name.
Okay. There you go. That's Nizer Stackhouse, and one of the new defensive linemen, the undrafted defensive lineman for the Green Bay Packers. I wonder what the over and under will be for fumbles this year for the Packers defense. Fumbles and then fumbles recovered for the Packers defense, since there is such an enormous concentration on punching the ball out and getting turnovers this year as opposed to in the past. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, you're always trying to get the ball. But this year there is it's a concerted effort by Jeff Hafley to say, hey, we're not only going to try and do this, we're going to have a guy that is going to keep a stat on it. And we are going to make sure we monitor guys that are actually doing that on a constant. And I go back to the Legion of Boom when they were trying to dislocate, we'll say, the ball, dislodge the ball from ball carriers. And they did it in what they wanted to be like ferocious hits and such. But I'm kind of wondering, like, what the over and under is going to end up being for the Green Bay Packers for fumbles and then fumble recoveries on the season, because it certainly seems – now you hope that all this hard work pays off, because if it does, then you're giving more bites of the apple back to the offense, and that cannot do anything but be good for the Green Bay Packers in so many different ways. But and plus, in working on this against your own guys, it also teaches your guys the lesson of ball security. When you're trying to punch the ball out consistently from the guys that are across from you, it also teaches the guys across from you ball security, because you don't want to be that guy that's constantly giving it up and having to get noticed in the film room because you keep getting the ball punched out because they're going after it. So I'm optimistic, we'll say, that this style of defense, that this concentration for garnering turnovers via fumbles continues for the Packers, and it actually pays some dividends as well. 8-7, because we all know turnovers are one of the number one keys to wins and losses. You get turnovers, you win a lot more games. You lose turnovers, you lose a lot more games. I mean, that's just, it goes hand in hand, and it has since pretty much that statistic was being kept. So hopefully it pays dividends for the Green Bay Packers. 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up? Do it. Coming up after the top of the hour, I want to get back into a couple of emails that had come in regarding the hot seat for Matt LaFleur that disagree with what I had to say. So, and we'll discuss. We'll get into some of your words when we come back. So don't go anywhere after the top of the hour. Stay tuned. Got a whole lot more on the Bill Michaels Show. Again, broadcasting live here in Sturgis, South Dakota. This portion of it brought to you by our friends over there at German Fest. German Fest, kudos to them, man. They stepped up. They're the ones that said, hey, look, what do you need regarding your motorcycle ride? Because we do a lot for veterans and military members here in this community. So we said, hey, this year we're paying for the police escort, and we're also doing some additional stage stuff for Six-Pack Sammy, and they said, done, we'll help you out. So between them, our friends at Veterans America, and the Water Doctors, taking care of a lot of that stuff. Kudos to German Fest. You want to look for 2026 on the docket, go to GermanFest.com. That is GermanFest.com. Again, GermanFest.com. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show live out here at Pappy Hoel Campground in Sturgis, South Dakota next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome in. Bill Michaels Show. This portion of it, anyway, brought to you by our friends at Dwayne's, D-U-A-N-E-S, Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. And whether it's a boat cover or upholstery, even the floor of my boat, to put down the new carpeting and everything, it's not even carpeting, it's some kind of like foamy, spongy stuff that doesn't mildew or mold or anything like that in the boat. And whether it's, office furniture, maybe an awning out in front of your business to dress up your business, whatever. I mean, he can do it. It's fantastic. And the fact that you've got a company right here in the state of Wisconsin that builds the pit boxes for racing, whether it's Indy cars, NASCAR, whatever. And those command centers, basically, when it rains, they need covers for those things. And they went to Dwayne's Cover It All, and he's done it for them. So it's racing, it's a number of things, and Dwayne's done it all for them, and he can do the same for you. And it's right here in the state of Wisconsin. DUANES, Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. That is Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. Call them 715-870-2119, 715-870-2119. Big supporter of the motorcycle ride as well. As a matter of fact, Dwayne and Amy ride in the motorcycle ride with us. Go again, 715-870-2119, helping support our military, our veterans, their family members, and our first responders. Again, Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. That is Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. For those that are watching on the live stream, man, what a beautiful day it has turned out to be after a cloudy start and a cool start to the day out here in Sturgis, South Dakota. Coming up after the top of the hour, I want to go into a little more discussion regarding Matt LaFleur. I'm efforting the guys from the show Counting Cars. They just landed, and they texted. They're going to try to get over here shortly. So hopefully they get a chance to come up and say hello today. I'm not promising anything, but Kevin, who, if you watch the show, is kind of the big, bald, muscular guy that works in the shop with Danny Coker and the staff from Counting Cars, just texted and said, hey, we landed. We're going to try to come by. I said, okay, here's where we're at, and they're on the way. So I don't know what time, but whenever they walk in, we'll make time for them as well. But I do want to come back and talk a little bit more about the email that kind of disagrees with me in regards to a hot seat for Matt LaFleur and others in the Packers organization. So I want to get into that a little discussion-wise when we come back. But again, we are broadcasting live out here in Sturgis, South Dakota, Pappy Hoel Campground. I just saw Penny Dupree, which is Jesse's wife. She came up and said hello. And I got to give a shout out to her because she is really kind of, when it comes to organizational things, she takes the brunt of the argument, but yet is probably the most organized person out here and the most passive person out here for getting things right. And she is so pleasant to deal with, and always love talking to her and hanging out with her a little bit. But just came up again just to check and make sure we're all good. Are you guys okay? Do you need anything? You want water? You want a fan up there? It's starting to get warm. I'm like, no, we're good. Thanks for the hospitality. Thanks for just letting us be here and promote our ride and our things back in Wisconsin out here to all of these riders and all these enthusiasts here in Sturgis, South Dakota. Let's do this. We're going to step out. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. A lot more to get to. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers are still in Atlanta. It's where they're going to face the Braves again tonight in the second game of their three-game series. Milwaukee took the opener 3-1 last night thanks to a 3-run homer from Isaac Collins. It also helped being able to turn the ball over to Trevor McGill in the ninth inning. He threw just 7 pitches to get his 25th save of the season. Manager Pat Murphy praised his efforts and his impact on the club.
For guys that know him well, he's taken a step, like a definite step. And he was very, very good for us last year, and he's very good for us this year. But now he's taken that step into whoa, it seems like, you know what I mean? I'm not going to put labels on him. I just say he's taken a step, and he's good. Wow, underrated, like all these guys are.
Tonight, the crew's going to send Freddie Peralta to the mound. He's 12-5 with a 3.08 ERA. Going to be looking to bounce back from a rough start against Chicago when he gave up 5 runs and walked 4 in just 4 innings. Braves counter with Joey Wentz. He enters 2-2 with a 5.02 ERA, pitching for his 3rd different team this year. Milwaukee comes into the day with the best record in baseball, a 3-game lead on Chicago in the NL Central.
ABC of Wisconsin is the largest apprenticeship program in the state, with more than 2,000 active apprentices in 12 different skilled trades. In the ABC apprenticeship program, you earn while you learn on the job, get paid to go to class, and graduate with a job in your craft, but without the huge college debt. Explore 12 different construction trades in one spot at buildyourcareerwi.org, or just search online for ABC of Wisconsin.
The Packers returned to the field this morning after getting a couple days off from practice. It did not include cornerback Nate Hobbs. He underwent minor knee surgery, expected to miss a couple of weeks. Packers open the preseason on Saturday against the Jets. And Wisconsin getting a day off from practice down in Platteville. Will be back out there tomorrow. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zack Heilprin.
Welcome back to the program, the Bill Michaels Show. We're live around here in Sturgis, South Dakota, and just hanging out. And the best part about the job that we do is sometimes you never know who's going to show up. And when you reach out to somebody and they say, you know what, we got a heart, we're going to help you out. And they say, yeah, we'll swing by. So you just landed Danny Coker from the show Counting Cars. What's happening? And let me turn you up here from the show Counting Cars, from the band Count 77.
Yep.
And you didn't just like show up, you brought the band. Stoney and everybody here, and Kevin's here, and it's like, damn.
Absolutely. Stoney's here, Zito's here, Tatora's here, Kevin's
Who
here.
you want to throw on a headset?
Barnes is here. I don't know. Hey, Stoney. Put on a rig, brother. Put on a rig.
Come on, man.
Put this on. Come join us.
Come on, come and hang out.
How you doing, bro?
I'm good. How you been?
I'm very good. We just it's like Rodney Dangerfield used to say. We just flew in and boy are my arms tired.
You guys have been doing a lot of touring.
Yes.
You've been all over the place.
Yes. We're like a bad rash.
Yeah.
We're everywhere.
Yeah, right. and you know, well, Cream's not going to get rid of you. That's for sure.
Right. Nothing gets.
But you got a lot of stuff in the works too, right? Last time we talked, you said, "Hey, I got some things."
Yeah.
And you got the same cat
Yeah.
smile bird on you, you know?
I know.
Can you say anything?
Well,
or not
you
say
know,
anything?
it's really funny. You're going to be the first official announcement on this. Your next door neighbor right here.
Yeah.
Top Coat.
Yeah.
I just did a joint venture with Top Coat. We have developed a completely all brand new product. It is based on the Top Coat F11 Pro Plus, and the new product is Counts Select, and we're literally launching it here today.
That is awesome.
This is the first time. It is the most amazing wax product for your bikes, your cars, your boats, your RVs, whatever it may be. It's phenomenal. We've been working on this, and literally we're kicking it off today. This is the first time I've spoken the words outside.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it's huge.
So you're still doing, obviously, your main business, which is the restoration process.
Counts Customs.
Which, by the way,
busy.
the Stoney car was just on I don't know what channel it is, but I watch it on Sundays. I know like that. They run you guys like a marathon every Sunday.
Yeah, probably FYI or something like that, but
yeah, it's on Roku channel. I see it all the time. Yeah. So it's kind of like any of these other sitcoms and shows that had a nice long run. They're going to run forever.
Yeah.
I mean, anywhere on your streaming channels and stuff, you can find Counting Cars all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So I got to ask you. I hate to hear that Vamped closed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you guys had a blowout party, man.
Oh, we went crazy. We went crazy.
6 hours. Over 6 hours.
Yeah, we played 6 hours. No kidding.
Really?
Yeah. It was insane.
Yeah.
And the place was an absolute madhouse. You know, Vamped. It's historical. It's part of the Las Vegas fabric now forever. 16 years of a full-on, real deal rock and roll club in Las Vegas. It's unheard of. And it was just time.
Yeah,
it was time to pass the torch. So Vamped is officially on the market. It is for sale at this point, and I'm pursuing other things. Like the Top Coat thing is one thing, and then there's still something else that I'm grinning about that I can't go anything more than a grin right now on that.
I got questions coming out saying you guys are going to be here.
Yeah,
and the next question to me was, because everybody wants to go back to a Super Bowl in Vegas, because I thought Vegas did a fantastic job at hosting that. They said, well, when we get there, will there be a
Vamped 2. And that's what everybody wants to know. Like, man, you got the hook, and we want to go see the cars. We want to go see them play. So that was the question. Where we, you know, like the next time we go to Vegas is hopefully it coincides with something that you guys are doing.
Something to be honest with you, my wife, Corey, she's the one who has been the booking agent at Vamp for all these years. And she has, she's an independent promoter. She's got an independent promoter's license. Her company is Motormouth Promotions. So she is still very active in the music community in Vegas, and especially she's a rocker, so it's all rock scene. So she's working with a few different rooms in Vegas. The main room she's working with right now is the Copa at the Bootlegger right there on the Strip. And she's done a couple shows there, and she's got us coming up. When is that? October 11th. October 11th. At this point, we're going to be 77's going to be doing a big show there. So yes, they're when you come to Vegas, we will be doing stuff. Absolutely.
I'm hoping that like it's all coinciding when we're out there. Hopefully, whatever the next Super Bowl happens, because they threw one hell of a party for us.
I think they're gonna. Every few years, I think Vegas is gonna end up getting it.
Well, Mark Davis does it right.
It was a hell of a time.
It really was. We played Count 77. Mark Davis threw a big private Super Bowl party. Where was
you were telling me that?
It was at Fontainebleau.
At Fontainebleau, right? He had this huge room, and the stage was like a miniature version of the Allegiant Stadium. It was unbelievable. Man, we played with Gladys Knight, Mickey Thomas, Don Felder.
How is it?
Billy Gibbons, us.
How is it playing with what you guys play, and you guys rock out to so much different nomenclature of music? How is it rocking out with Gladys Knight?
It was awesome.
Yeah,
it was awesome when she whipped out "Midnight Train to Georgia." I mean, come on, man. How does your throat not get 3 feet thick? It's one of the greatest songs on the planet.
Yeah,
and she's so very, very cool. It was an incredible time. I mean, the music at that party was everywhere. It was so eclectic. Right. Yep. It was everywhere. It was fantastic.
I wanted to say thanks for you guys, because you guys are going to sign a couple of guitars for us coming up for our motorcycle ride, which you guys were a part of last year, and we had a great time having you there.
That was a ball.
That was fun. That was fun. We're kind of getting back to our roots, but I'll give you the wink and a nod. This is our 18th, but for our 20th, we're doing it big. Okay. So you might be coming back to Milwaukee and hanging out with us a little bit.
So with a good time.
There you go. Hang out with us.
We would be honored,
because we never got a chance to take you down to Calderon down to eat that time, because you guys played in Green Bay that night.
Right.
And then you heard about it from the next day from Jesse, and all I heard was Kevin going, "You're killing me. You're killing me."
Well,
because you guys got Pino's out there in Vegas, But I kept saying Pino's is good, but I'm telling you.
When you look at Kevin too, he doesn't miss a good meal. So he was really upset.
Kevin's an eating machine.
So how is, because you guys are playing today at 1:30, and then Gretchen Wilson tomorrow night, you're opening up for her. Tonight, though, we got Disturbed on the stage, and the Jackal does the big reunion on Thursday, because you guys got a chance to open for them. Was it 2 years ago?
Last
year,
a couple of times.
Past 2 years,
which has been really, really cool. So you guys get a chance to hang out. Now you're staying for a little while. You guys got to bolt.
We go back on Thursday. We have to go back on Thursday.
Okay. Because that's going to be that's always going to be a party.
I know.
Yeah. Hank here the other night. First time they've ever sold out everything.
That's awesome.
Which was, I saw they got they got the platforms now on the bridges, and that looks really good.
They sold out everything, and I can't even begin to tell you, if you look out at this, there was no space anywhere for a bike, a car, nothing. It was completely packed.
That had to be wild.
And you guys know, coming in from here, and I hate to turn my back on the camera and for those watching on TV, but from here to the stoplight, which is by the Buffalo Chip.
Way down.
That was the line to get out of here. You were paddling your bike all the way down the damn street. I mean, that's how many people were here that night for Hank, and they're going to say it's going to be like that again tonight. For Disturbed. Yeah,
fantastic.
So Mike Wangren and the guys from Disturbed have also said, "Hey, if Count 77 is signing, we'll sign too." So we got them.
Well,
Jesse knows guys are going to do it, but hell yeah. So anything else that we haven't touched on that you guys want to touch on, man?
We're just staying busy. We're working on a third record. We're working on a third record, Count 77's third record. We've got a single right now that y'all are going to hear soon. That's actually in the done column, so that's coming out here soon. And so just watch for us, man. We're all over the place.
One of the interviews that still live in infamy over on YouTube was the one you and I did. It was 3 years ago.
Okay,
we did it here. And I'm a sports guy. Now I did rock years ago. But I'm more of a sports guy. So I asked you a question. And I said to you, out of all the cars that you have done, because you've done a lot of charity, you've done a lot of things for veterans, you've done so many different things.
Yeah.
What was the one that, kind of got to you?
Yeah.
And you broke up.
Yeah.
And you said, nobody's ever asked me that before.
Yeah.
And do you remember that conversation?
I do.
Because so many people that love you
Yeah.
and listen to this program that have kind of put two and two together, go back and listen to that. And that
Right.
gets brought up to me constantly saying, oh, my
Right.
God, that was an
Right.
emotional moment.
Right. What car was it? Was I talking about Barry White Stutz?
No.
Which one was
that
it?
was the one you had mentioned first. You said
okay.
there was a young woman.
Right.
And you started talking about her car. And I think it was for her father, somebody in her family.
Okay.
And you started talking about the meaning of that car.
Yeah.
And
you know what? You're right. You're right.
And you stepped back and you said, I this is tough.
No, you're 100% right. That's something that I've discovered with the shop with Counts Customs that I didn't realize it was going to be. We build people's cars, we build people's bikes. I didn't really expect to be touching people's hearts and reaching into their dreams and delivering things to them on that level. So yeah, and I am that kind of guy. So it gets to me.
Yeah.
It gets to me when it touches the heartstrings of the people. I tend to fall in it right with
because I get asked all the time because we meet so many people, whether it's sports guys, celebrities, figures, whatever.
Yeah.
And your name comes up and they say, wow, is it phony? And I said, I'm telling you, there is genuine as genuine can be. There is no fake. There is no BS. Kevin answers his phone.
I know.
Kevin answers his phone. You figure you got
I know.
people for that.
Right,
you know?
right. No,
I text him, and I mean, it's like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Jesse answers his phone, but it's usually one word because he's so damn busy.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
Kevin's like, what do you need? We'll do whatever you can, So I said, absolutely. They're exactly as genuine can be.
I appreciate that. We don't fake the funk. We keep it 100% real. It comes from our hearts. We're genuine about it. God has been so good to me that I just it's an honor to be able to try to give back the best that I possibly can.
Yeah. One car. I did have a guy named Dave in Green Bay that asked me to ask you how many cars are in your collection now.
Oh my goodness! It's about 47.
Because you always talk about the collection on the show. So he said, how many cars does he officially have in the collection?
Too many. I got too much stuff.
Okay. The other question I have to ask out of your band.
Yeah.
And this was the question. I'm asking it directly. So you do the cars for a living.
Yeah.
We've seen the episode where you get your car redone.
Yeah.
Who drives the biggest piece of crap?
Barry Barnes. I don't even have to think about it. Barry Barnes on base.
Well, Barry has two. He has the Cadillac, which is actually very nice.
Very nice.
Okay.
Yes.
But he also drives an old 90s Impala that
Yeah, it's definitely quite
a 90s.
The old bought it at the police auction.
Yeah,
Impala
it's
type of
definitely
thing.
a ghetto cruiser. His Cadillac is super nice, but his Impala is it's harsh.
That's fantastic. Well, guys, I want to say thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, man.
The guitars are going to be over at. Thank you so much. The guitars are going to be over there for you guys to sign tonight.
Okay.
And we appreciate everything you've done for us.
Brother,
and
thank you.
We are a year and a half away from making an announcement, and you guys are going to be a part of some things
Amen.
that we're going to be doing down in Milwaukee.
We're there.
Yeah,
We're
can't
there.
wait.
We
Can't
would love
wait.
it. We would love it.
Let's do this. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. We are live. We're here in Sturgis, South Dakota. Stay right where you're at. We'll be back right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network. Step right up and gaze into my crystal ball. I see flashing lights, spinning reels, and a big win. This August, you have a ticket to a cash carnival at Potawatomi. Play with your rewards card and earn entries to win your share of $300,000 in cash and prizes. Prize drawings every Thursday through August 28th. Your fortune awaits only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
Truck drivers, have you been searching for a more reliable driving job? Get the paychecks and predictability you need as a Schneider driver. Schneider's large selection of driving jobs means you can get the home time that suits your schedule. Choose from daily, weekly, monthly, or some in between. Plus, Schneider drivers have access to great benefits with a 401k match and a 24/7 support team. Get the keys to a better driving job. Search openings near you and apply now at schneiderjobs.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. The Bill Michaels Show. We are live. We are here in Sturgis, South Dakota. Man, what a great time to get Danny Coker, the band Count 77, the guys from County Cars to come up and say hello and just stop by. And they're going to sign our guitars that will be a part of the 18th annual Big Unit Poker Run benefiting Fisher House, Wisconsin, the Big Unit Foundation, supporting our military and veterans and their families, and we can't say thanks enough. Also at the gala, we'll have one of those guitars at the gala this year that'll be up for auction as well. And later tonight, the guys from Disturbed are going to put their signatures to those as well, and the band Jackal. So you get 3 different bands and just, I don't know how to put it, celebs, whatever you want to call it. But they're going to put their pens to the guitars, and somebody is going to win one, and the other one is going to be auctioned off. So we're excited about all of that. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Go to PellaWI.com. That is PellaWI.com. And whether it's for home beautification or safety and security at night, curb appeal, whatever it happens to be, or the economical factor, that is our friends at Pella. And you can always check out all of their financing offers because 0% financing is available. And there's just another reason to say I want to go with Pella. Pella does great installation. And God forbid you have any kind of a problem. Pella installation, they come back and make it right. I mean, they've done that for me. I have gotten other stories, emails from people that have gone with Pella where it was perfect, or if it was a little bit imperfect, they came back and made sure it was right because it's all about customer satisfaction.
And that's Pella. Go to PellaWI.com. That's PellaWI.com for everything that Pella has to offer. Go to PellaWI.com. There you go. That was fun. I don't care who you are. That was a fun segment. And as I had mentioned, going into the segment and coming out of it, that the guys are exactly the same in person as you see every week on the television show. And they've got some things coming out product-wise with Top Coat. They always have something in the works because there's such a clamoring for another run of Counting Cars. So we'll see. But it's always something fun to catch up on and chat about and such. And so all that kind of good stuff. Great. I mean, that's awesome. That was completely a blast. 877-867-1670. Now, I want to get back. We got a little off track, which is okay. But I want to get back, okay, to the discussion we had earlier about Matt LaFleur. And this is what Marty had to say. Marty said, Unit, I listen to your show each and every day. Most of the time I agree with you. This time I do not. I think Matt LaFleur is squarely on the hot seat. Him, Gutekunst, and Russ Ball. While they have managed the cap well, they have not brought in the quality players that this team needs to make it to a Super Bowl. I think this year is Super Bowl or bust for Matt LaFleur and that entire crew. Otherwise, Ed Policy is going to blow them out. Ed Policy wants to put his own thumbprint on this organization. It's time for another president to do so. In doing so, it would mean that it guarantees success for the future because Packers fans demand it. Mediocrity and sub-mediocrity is not enough. And in my terms, mediocrity, as Marty says, mediocrity is just making it to the postseason. Winning in the postseason is a priority for the Packers and Packers fans and Packers Nation. Let's not forget that. That is from Marty. Marty, I understand where you're coming from. I'll respectfully disagree. And not in the sense that mediocrity is something that is not a priority. But it's how you get there. Again, it's how you get from point A to point B. Point A to point B is this. Point A to point B is, do you get to, as you put it, sub-mediocrity or mediocrity, with a team that is loaded, pretty much injury-free, and they just don't live up to their potential? That's one way. That's one way of getting there. The other way of getting there is with a team that has no business being there, that has sustained a ton of injuries, that maybe overachieved. You know, if you lose 3, 4, 5 key pieces, you know, the Detroit Lions last year got to the postseason and ultimately just ran out of guys defensively. They just couldn't stop anybody. They were so far down from Aiden Hutchinson, and Anzalone finally came back for the postseason, but even he was not completely in tip-top shape, so to speak. But they had so many guys that had gone down. The only player they didn't lose was really Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Other than that, they were losing everybody. So, and they just ran out of bodies. So if, say, this team should win a playoff game and go to a divisional round game, but along the way they lose Josh Jacobs, Jordan Love, Matthew Golden, Kenny Clark, Nate Hobbs, Edrin Cooper, and they're down to quite a few backups. If I told you that, then you'd say, wow, that's a pretty good season, right? Exactly. But if they were completely healthy and they get a wild card game, they don't win the division, they have 2 wins in their own division, and they're a one and done, you'd say, well, they got to the postseason, and then sub-mediocrity hit. It depends on how you view it. It's not just and I preach this, not just the record. Because if Matt LaFleur game plans his ass off, right? The game plan is just flawless. But you just run out of guys. You just flat out get beat because you don't have that same sustainability to go toe-to-toe, pound for pound with the team across from you. You don't fire the coach for that. Injuries are a part of the game. I mean, I've said all along, there's 4 keys to winning in the National Football League. 1 is you got to be good. 2 is you got to have some luck. And then 3 and 4 are you got to be healthy and you got to get hot. So the luck comes with health at times. Those two can go hand in hand. Sometimes it's about getting a ball that gets tipped into the air and falls in your hands. You got right place, right time. You get a couple of turnovers, whatever. But again, I'm not going to sit here today and say if they don't go to the postseason or if they go one and done in the postseason, that it's an automatic firing and it's an automatic hot seat. You're done. I'm not going to do that because I try to look at it through a completely wide-eyed, focused lens, not just a myopic one saying, here's the goal. And if you don't reach it, I don't care how you get there, then you're gone. Because I don't think that's fair. Because that would be like saying, okay, you will be fired at your job if you don't fulfill whatever task it is you have at hand. Well, are you lazy? Are you incapable of performing your job? Or maybe an illness keeps you away from, say, getting to the maximum productivity that you could possibly perform throughout a season, throughout a year. There's factors there. And if you say came down seriously ill with something that was not even of your doing, should you be penalized for that? So, don't get me wrong. Some companies, will put you on some kind of long-term leave, and we all know what the technicalities are here. But what I'm talking about specifically is just if in a 3-month period you're supposed to hit such a quota in your job, and you end up coming down with something that was completely beyond your control, that really knocked you on your ass, and you come back after 3-4 weeks of battling something, but there's no way you're ever going to get to the level of productivity that was expected of you. Should you be fired for that? That's what I'm saying. So the argument about Matt LaFleur being on a hot seat, yeah, I think there's a fisheye lens that is very much magnifying everything right now with the Packers organization and not just Matt LaFleur. And yeah, you've got Ed Policy in his own right, probably wanting to put a little bit of a fingerprint on the organization, carry that torch. But you don't come in and just start cleaning house because, well, I'm the new sheriff in town. You don't do that. You'd be stupid to do that. Unless it's warranted. You'd be stupid to do that. So I don't think there's a hot seat to be had there. I think there is very much a microscope on the organization to say, okay, is it same old, same old? Is it better? Is there quality? Or are we not performing to our capability? And then if you're not performing, do you look at the coaching staff or do you look at the general manager who's actually bought the groceries? Right? So you got the coach cooking a dinner and a GM buying the groceries. Where would that blame then lie? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Rick says, if the offense is bad, but the defense is great, do you fire Matt LaFleur and then hire Jeff Hafley? Again, depends on if the offense is healthy and it's just bad and it looks dysfunctional. Yeah, I think you probably would. Would Jeff Hafley get an opportunity to interview for the head coaching job? Would I hire him? I don't know. I like everything he has to say. I like his breakdowns. I like, the way he communicates. But I don't know if he'd be the best man for the job at that point in time. I don't know if there's somebody better out there to be the head coach. I don't know. I certainly would take my time going through that process. And does Jeff Hafley then still have his fingerprint all over the defense? Or does Jeff Hafley go out and hire somebody different? He would hire a defensive coordinator anyway. But does he go out and hire somebody different to take it in a different direction? I don't know. I don't know. But I certainly wouldn't kick Jeff Hafley to the curb in that scenario. Mark says, come on, Packers. Come on, Packers way has been since Wolf took over way back and has been first NFC North. If they don't do that, trouble, and what happened to the division last year, a big problem. Oh, if they go 1-5 in the division again, don't win the division, and are a quick exodus in the first round of the playoffs, yeah, there's probably going to be some heads that roll. Because you're watching teams, coaches drive past you. You know, say you end up with 1-5 in the division, and you end up with the same record again, a very similar situation, but less injuries? Absolutely. Absolutely. But if you end up in the exact same boat with more injuries and key injuries, then you have to take a different look at that. But I agree with you, Mark. I mean, the 1-5 record from last year in the division, that is something that does not sit very well in Green Bay with fans, management, people in that front office. Not at all. Not at all. 100% agree with you. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Again, 877-867-1670. Give us a shout, which is really, really good. Let's go to John listening to us in Vegas. John, how you doing, man? What's going on?
Hey, Bill, we're braving the heat out here. It's going to be 103, but we'll survive.
There you go.
Northwood people, we can survive. Hey, spent the whole 2-hour flight here just kind of scrolling, looking at all the NFL training camp news, looking at kind of all the different teams catching up on some former players of interest, right? I saw Graham Mertz absolutely slinging it down in Texas. I saw Tanner Mordecai get cut.
Yeah.
I saw, Chimere Dike is making a bunch of noise in Tennessee. So excited to watch some of those players. The other player that really surfaced, Bill, is Jaire Alexander. Dude is absolutely lighting it on fire in Baltimore, right? He picked off Lamar Jackson twice, I think, in their first full team session. Do we have yet any buyer's remorse? Is it too early to have that conversation? And excuse me, this was a screaming child running by. But we're in Vegas,
Sure.
That's how it goes. But my question is, Jaire Alexander, $4 million contract, right? He's getting paid less than, your average NFL corner. And even for half a season, my stance was $4 million is enough for half a season. If $8 million is your full season, $4 million bucks. The Packers last season were 6-1 with Jaire, 5-6 without Jaire. Was $4 million too much to pay? And they instead brought in Nate Hobbs, which now, of course, we're starting the whole circus again with we don't know the timetable on return. Right. I'm feeling a little bit of buyer remorse. I'm curious if you're feeling similar today.
I will say this. I read the same thing because after a strong start to camp, he had another impressive day on Saturday's practice with a couple of picks as well. And the first one, I think, if I'm not mistaken, came when they were doing the 11-on-11 work, and he intercepted Lamar Jackson. That was supposed to go to Zay Flowers. So I do remember that. It's not buyer's remorse because I'm going to play the game of wait and see. We've done this with Jaire in the past where Jaire is like all ready to go. And then first, second, third, fifth game, all of a sudden he's gone. So, lighting it up in camp to me is a little bit different than lighting it up in the game. I think put it this way, he's an incredibly quality cover corner. There's no doubt about that. The question is going to be, and it's going to play out, what is his longevity going to be in the NFL this season? Is it going to be 5 games, 8 games, 10 games, 17 games? That's where the Packers became frustrated. They paid him a lot of money, and he only played 50% of the snaps since they paid him a lot of money. And that's what was unacceptable to them. And he didn't want to come back after that, and he wanted to go to Baltimore. So, and he took less money, I guess, to go to Baltimore, depending on who you listen to in that scenario. No buyer's remorse yet. But let's wait to see how the season plays out. Don't forget, though, Jaire's got a chip on his shoulder now because he's out to prove everybody wrong that he can play, even if he's banged up or nicked up, and he can make it a whole season and all that kind of stuff. Because if he doesn't, then it's going to be, well, see, told you so. That's Jaire. Remember, don't forget they love his character, just like we did here in Green Bay. They mic'd him up for their version of family night this past Saturday as well. I think he was mic'd up for their training camp. And he provided a lot of entertaining comments and such, everything that he did here. But as far as buyer's remorse, I'm not there yet, only for the fact that I live by the motto of wait and see, because Jaire always gave us a lot of entertainment and a lot of hope and optimism going into the season, only to be over the last couple of years specifically to be let down. So appreciate the phone call. Enjoy Vegas, man. Vegas, hot place this time of year, without a doubt. I thought maybe when he was in Vegas, he was calling about Danny and those guys who were just up here from the show counting cars. They were great. And Stoney Curtis plays lead guitar in the band Count 77. They had the whole band here. I was hoping they'd bring the guys over, and Kevin was here and everything, and they're all filming it. They're all doing, their own videos and such. But
nobody else wanted to jump on the microphone, but it was a lot of fun. Let's do this. We're going to step out. We'll take a quick break. We got a couple of segments to go. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right out here in Sturgis, South Dakota. We'll be back right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. We are live. We are in Sturgis, South Dakota. And we can't say thanks enough to the great people here at Pappy Hoel Campground, Jesse James Dupree from the band Jackal, everybody for just allowing us our time, basically, to be here, be a part of the stage coming up here on Thursday night. We're going to do some stuff backstage with our friends from Disturbed coming up later on this evening, so we're looking forward to that. I got a text message. They have not landed yet, but the guys from Count 77 and the guys from Counting Cars, they are supposed to stop over as soon as they get here, so we're hoping for that as well. So we'll keep you up to date there. Joining us now on the hotline, the sports director, WOZN, the Zone out in Madison, Zack Heilprin. Zack, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Bill. I decided instead of driving southwest down to Platteville today, I'd drive northeast up to Green Bay.
Yeah, I heard you've kind of been doing the double dip. So let's start out with the Badgers, then we'll talk some Packers. But what is your overall impression of Badger camp thus far?
Yeah, it's been good. There's been some good, there's been some bad. I think it's more interesting this year because so much is new. So much new offensively, so many different looks than we haven't seen these last 2 years. And then defensively, they've changed a bunch of stuff up, a bunch of different guys. It's been some good, it's been some bad. I think Luke Fickell would probably say the same, and it's kind of what you would expect.
Let's talk about Billy Edwards Jr. first and foremost. Obviously, all the eyes are going to be upon him. There's another quarterback in town. This is a guy that is supposed to be able to kind of run the offense the way it's supposed to be run. They've changed the offense up. How much grace does that buy them getting out of the chute?
Oh, I don't think it buys them any grace whatsoever, right? Like,
I would agree with that, but I wanted your opinion on that.
Yeah, no, right. Yeah, right. I would just look at it and be like, you changed everything 2 years ago, and it didn't work. You don't necessarily get that grace period to go back and say, well, now we get another year or two to see how this works out. You made a mistake in what you did, and now you kind of got to hit the ground running if you're Luke Fickell and Jeff Grimes. I don't know that they'll get any kind of a grace period with fans. Now, talked to Chris McIntosh out in Las Vegas a couple weeks ago, and he was very supportive of Luke Fickell, as you would imagine, but I don't think fans would get them any kind of grace period.
When you were out in Vegas, a lot of talk about the Ohio State Buckeyes coming off of the national championship run, but they also lost a lot of players. There's not an expectation for them to do it again, although they're always considered one of the top teams in the Big Ten. Got into a discussion a couple of days ago, and I knew you were going to come on and we were going to talk a little bit about this between you and Jesse. Is that if they could pull off, and again, I'm just kind of throwing it out there, if they could pull off an upset and still end up with 7 wins on the season and knock off a team like an Ohio State at Camp Randall coming up in October, that's that signature win that this program would then be looking for that then propels them forward. Even though they would end up with 7 or 8 wins total on the season, you could still, that's something to hang your hat on, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, I think their over-under is 5.5. So there are not too many. I don't know. Haven't talked to a ton of people that are taking the over on that. So right. Yeah, to get to 6 or 7, and one of those wins could be an Ohio State at home, where they have played Ohio State tough every single year. I mean, go back; they have not gotten blown out at home by Ohio State in, I want to say, it's been 20 plus years. So we're talking about a team that they always play tough at home, and Luke Fickell, because of this Ohio State ties, obviously it's a big game for them too. But if they were to get to 6 or 7 wins, I think it'd be a huge success. Again, we all talk about the schedule and how tough it is, and it is, but it's tough because of the teams that you don't normally associate with being good. An Indiana, an Illinois, maybe Washington you would expect to be better than it was last year. They were in the national championship a couple of years ago. So like that's why the schedule is so tough. It's not, I don't know that it's because you have to face what you do in in October with Michigan and Oregon and Ohio State. It's some of the other teams that make it even more difficult, and obviously Alabama too. But if they got to 6 or 7, Bill, I think that'd be a huge victory for Luke Fickell and his program, and it'd be I think a big push-off point for next year.
Last year, they played teams tough early on. It was in the latter portion of ball games, midway through the third and into the fourth, that things got away from them. What does this team need to do to say, shore up that quarter and a half that seemed to get away from them last year? Is it just as simple as saying we got to clean up the stupid penalties and the stupid plays for turnovers? They
have to be able to move on. They have to be able to say, yes, this was horrible, but we have a game next week. We can't. If you go back to the Penn State game and the way that all played out, they had a lead in the third quarter and were almost to jump around with a lead, and then obviously Braden Locke saw a guy and still threw the ball, and it got picked off in return for a touchdown. And so everything flipped. But they didn't get over that game until, I don't even know if they ever got over that game, but it was Thursday before they were focused on anything else. They need to be able to turn the page. So if something doesn't go well against them 1 week, it can't cost them the next week. And that's exactly what happened at the end of last year. You think about that Penn State game, and then you go and play at Iowa and get stomped. And then you come home and play Oregon. You play them really, really tough. You had them right there, too, for the picking. And then you go and get blown out by Nebraska and Minnesota, for that matter. You have to be able to move on. And that was such a huge message from Luke Fickell down in Vegas and certainly here in camp. Have to be able to move on. It was a focus all offseason for them.
One of the things that I thought also was that the physicality of some of the teams that they faced grinded on them to the point where they became physically underwhelming in midway through the third quarter in a lot of those games that you had just mentioned, where you had physical teams and they couldn't match that physicality, which is something they tried to address very much so in this offseason, correct?
Oh, they did. They absolutely did. The mentality of it, but also changing back to this off team, they want to run the ball. They want to run the ball down people's throats. And will they be able to do that, I think, is obviously a huge question. We've seen some explosive plays in the run game so far in camp. They're not full tackle, so it's a little bit tough to always gauge that type of stuff. But that's who they want to be offensively. And the defensive side of the ball, they absolutely got worn down and got run over because they weren't very big in the front. And, it's not just straight size. They've got, I think, 9 300-pound defensive linemen or 8 or 9 guys over 300 pounds along their defensive line now. It's not just about size, but it's a big part of it. It's a big part of it. Right. You're going against some power run teams like Iowa, like Minnesota, teams that want to run the ball down your throat. They didn't need to pass the ball because that's exactly what they could do. So they made a huge effort to address this year, and we'll see if it pays off. I'm on all of this stuff, so I'm just wait and see, right? We've been so I don't know, locked into the hype, especially in 2023, so locked into the hype. A little bit less so last year. Certainly, please show us before we make any proclamations about who you are as a team. But they've made the moves to address it. We'll see if they can, if that ends up doing it.
So the other thing I wanted to ask you, there's so much talk about where an area could possibly be that needed to be shored up. What looks good to you so far in camp? Let's talk about a positive first.
I would probably say that's a tough question because I think there's a number of spots, but I would probably say I really like what the running back group has done. It's Dylan Jones, Darian Dupree, it's Cade Yakimelli, it's Gideon Asuka. What makes Wisconsin special when they have a good offense, and this is not going to be like some kind of a surprise, but it's a good offensive line and having an NFL-type running back. If you have NFL talent at running back, you're likely going to have some success, and they haven't had that the last couple years because Braylon was obviously dinged up in 23, and last year's group was not where it needed to be. What I've seen from this group so far is a lot of talent. They were highly recruited kids, and we've seen them that kind of play out. Darian Dupree's looked amazing. Dylan Jones has looked really good, and Cade Yakimelli averaged over 8 yards a carry last year. Didn't get the ball very much, but he's also looked good. So I think I would say probably the running back group has been really, really impressive.
Offensive line, it all starts up front. Again, you go to the trenches, you talk about the physicality, bigger, stronger, faster. Offensive line last year, I noticed at times was not able to protect as long as maybe they needed them to. Is this a better offensive line in the trenches this year?
I certainly think they're going to be a better run blocking team. Braden Locke, for all his issues, wasn't able to get the ball away without taking too many sacks. They only gave up, I think, 12 sacks on the season. They weren't horrible. They could not run the ball, and that has to change. And I felt great about it in the spring. They had Kevin Haywood playing at left tackle, and then he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
So they had to go out and get Davis Heinzen from Central Michigan to come in and play left tackle, and that's a job that's still up for grabs. And they're also still looking at the right guard spot where Emerson Mandel and a couple other guys are fighting for that. But they are bigger. They are certainly bigger, and they are certainly nastier in what they want to do. But do I think this offensive line is going to be better than last year's? It has to be. It absolutely has to be.
Defensively speaking, real quick, anything overwhelmingly impressive there so far?
They have some crazy depth at inside linebacker. They've got a couple of guys in Christian Allegro and Tackett Curtis who have looked really, really good. But then they got a couple of young guys, Cooper Catalano, who's from Aquanago, and it looks like he's a true freshman. He came in early, but he looks like he's going to be able to play right away. And then they've got this other guy named Mason Posa. He's from New Mexico. He was a big-time wrestler, but is also a big-time football player. Every program in the country wanted him. They beat out Oregon. They beat out Oklahoma. Like, it was a huge, huge win for them. And he's another guy that I think it might not be a huge impact this year, but down the road, him and Cooper Canolato, I think, is the future of that position. And I'm really, really excited about what those guys have looked like and what they can do, especially if you get to play the defensive line that you need to, where they're kind of able to run free. They're not getting, gobbled up by blocks and guards getting off to them.
There you go. That's Zack Heilprin from a little bit earlier today, but great to get Zack on the program and chat with him. A little Badger chatter. Let's do this. We're going to step out. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll wrap it up. We are broadcasting live here in Sturgis, South Dakota. We are at Pappy Hoel Campground. You're looking live over at Bear Butte, Full Throttle Saloon, the big giant Olympic Twisted Tea pool off to the left-hand side, and some of those that are coming up towards the campground check-in and the general store and such. But that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break here in Sturgis. Come back. More of the Bill Michaels Show. We wrap it up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back in the Bill Michaels Show. Our 2-day stint broadcasting live out here at Pappy Hoel Campground, Full Throttle Saloon. What a blast. Off the next couple of days. Be back at it again next Monday. We'll recap the Packers and the Jets. Tomorrow, you got Grant, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Tomorrow, I am actually, I've been asked to ride in a ride that Jesse does every year, which they do for veterans. And they do a lot of stuff with the VFW out here. So we're going to we're going to partake in that. And then on Thursday, they're giving us an opportunity. We're going to do a lot of stage stuff down at Full Throttle Saloon and getting ready for our motorcycle ride back in Wisconsin. They allow us, there is 700,000 people rolling through the hills of Sturgis, South Dakota. And many of them make Full Throttle Saloon part of their destination at one point or another their ride. So over the next couple of days, we're going to get a chance to talk to a lot of those people and really promote back home what it is we do. And so tomorrow we're going to ride with a lot of people and kind of promote ourselves. And then on Thursday, we get a chance to hit the stage to a sold-out show coming up on Thursday night. And we're looking forward to that. And then on Friday, we start to head back home. We get back to the great state of Wisconsin. Going to be up. We'll do some social media stuff during the Packers game on Saturday. But then we'll be back talking about it with Mike Clemens and company on Monday. So at least as far as my portion of this goes, Grant is going to be holding down the fort. Grant, you good to go for the remainder of the week?
Oh, heck yeah. Lots going on. We can debate whether or not Packers starters should play on Saturday. Get at least 2 full shows out of that.
Yeah, I know, right? Everybody's got an opinion on that. Obviously, the Brewers playing yet again. The Brewers taking on Atlanta, and you've got the Reds in Wrigley. Hopefully, the Reds can do it 2 in a row over the Cubs. The Brewers get themselves another win. God, it'd be great to wake up tomorrow 4 games up in the standings and really all of a sudden starting getting a commanding lead in the National League Central. My thanks to Jesse James Dupree, his wife Penny Sterling, who has been nothing but short of a godsend out here for us and always is, taking care of us and taking care of all of our needs. Thanks to Jesse for stopping by. Thanks to Danny Coker, more so Kevin, who kind of books everything for them. And Kevin, who everybody has seen on the show, Counting Cars. Kevin is kind of the manager of the band, and Stoney Curtis and everybody that came over from the band, Counting Car or Count 77. But Danny is such a great guy. Thanks to them for coming by. Thanks to Zack and Mike and Chuck and everybody else, and all of you Wisconsinites that have come up and said hello, or those who have listened to the show and come up and said hello, because some of them aren't all in Wisconsin. But we appreciate you coming by and saying hi. So until then, till tomorrow, Grant will talk to you 20 hours from now, and then I'll be back on Monday. But until then, it is time for us to go. Just keep watching social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, that kind of stuff. We'll keep posting all of our endeavors, if you will. But until we talk again, back on Monday morning, bright and early, 10 a.m. Central Time. Don't forget the television show is going to air 8 o'clock Central Time on My 24 TV in Milwaukee. But until we